Chapter 37-26. Junior Apprentice Brother Duan, do you want to return to the sect with me or wait until you break through to the lower God King realm before returning? Not long after Duan Lingtian came out, Wu Feng also came out. He looked at Duan Lingtian and asked. The current Wu Feng seemed to have returned to normal. Earlier he had asked Duan Lingtian that question because he was curious. Moreover, the remnant of Heavenly Emperor Qin Wu's soul that had merged with his soul was influencing him. Of course, although he was curious, he couldn't ask. This was because asking would make him suspect that he was probing Duan Lingtian. Why was he probing him? It could be because he was greedy for the treasures Duan Lingtian obtained this time. As for why God Emperor Qin Wu would affect him, it was because God Emperor Qin Wu's remnant soul felt that if possible, killing Duan Lingtian and allowing his remnant soul to obtain the treasures he left behind would be the best ending. However, in the end, Wu Feng persisted in his opinion and wasn't affected. Of course, there was also a small part of God Emperor Qin Wu that was affecting Wu Feng. He realized that even if he killed Duan Lingtian's storage ring would self-destruct. In the end, it would be useless. Senior Apprentice Brother Wu Feng, I won't return with you. Duan Lingtian shook his head and said to Wu Feng, I plan to find a place to break through to the God King realm first. Then I will consider whether or not to return to the sect. He would naturally return to the Hidden Fog sect. Not to mention anything else, just the Hidden Fog sect's core disciples, Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao, would cause him to settle old scores with them one day. He would make them regret their actions in the past. Of course, he also had other thoughts. He could wander elsewhere, and once he had a certain amount of strength, he would return to the Hidden Fog sect to settle accounts with Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao. All right. Wu Feng respected Duan Lingtian's choice and nodded. Before parting, Wu Feng looked at Duan Lingtian and said, Junior Apprentice Brother Duan, thank you for this matter. Not only did you give me the high-quality divine weapon that gave birth to the weapon soul, you even gave me the remnant soul of divine Emperor Qin Wu. I will definitely return this favor in the future. For the first time, Wu Feng admitted that God Emperor Qin Wu's remnant soul had merged with his soul. Hearing Wu Feng's words, even though Duan Lingtian had already guessed it, his expression couldn't help but become solemn. Senior Brother Wu Feng, I know that God Emperor Qin Wu's remnant soul is very tempting to you. Now you've already fused with his remnant soul. I won't try to persuade you anymore because it's too late. In the future, I only hope that when you make some decisions, you will stick to your own views and not be affected by the thoughts of Divine Emperor Qin Wu's remnant soul in your subconscious. You must remember that you are still yourself and have nothing to do with Divine Emperor Qin Wu. Obviously, Duan Lingtian was worried that Wu Feng would be at a disadvantage, so he intentionally reminded Wu Feng. Don't worry, I know what to do. Wu Feng nodded. God Emperors aren't that simple. These were the last words that Duan Lingtian said to Wu Feng before they parted. In fact, Wu Feng didn't know what would happen in the future after God Emperor Qin Wu's remnant soul had merged with Wu Feng's soul. Perhaps it wouldn't affect Wu Feng too much. In fact, it might even help Wu Feng cultivate more efficiently and comprehend the profundities of laws. Perhaps it would have a great impact on Wu Feng. However, no matter what, God Emperor Qin Wu wouldn't be able to seize Wu Feng's body because he had already died. It wasn't just his body but his soul as well. The remnant soul he had left behind was more like an obsession than a remnant soul. In this world, no one wanted to die. Even God Emperors who had lived for a long time were the same. Next, I'll consume the Fortune Divine Fruit and break through to the God King realm. Then I'll see if I can return to the Hidden Fog sect and display strength that doesn't belong to Long Xiao or Shangguan Xiongfeng. I'll recommend myself to become Elder Yun or Elder Wu's disciple in name. After separating from Wu Feng, Duan Lingtian took a detour and found a remote valley to cultivate. Of course, before he started cultivating, he asked the Seven Orifices' exquisite sword soul, Huang to protect him. Ever since Huang obtained the mysterious bead from the floating heavens Heavenly Emperor Yang Yun Xiao, she had been refining it to improve the Seven Orifices' exquisite sword's quality. She had just finished refining it recently. According to Huang, the current Seven Orifices' exquisite sword had evolved to the limit of high-grade divine artifact. Her strength had also increased correspondingly. Currently, Duan Lingtian was a higher God Realm expert, and Huang's cultivation was also at the level of a higher God Realm expert. However, the profundities she comprehended were stronger than Duan Lingtian. With the help of the Seven Orifices' exquisite sword, her strength surpassed the current Duan Lingtian. With Huang protecting him, Duan Lingtian didn't have to worry. After all, if Huang couldn't deal with someone, he couldn't deal with them. If he wasn't afraid of someone, Huang wouldn't be afraid either. Huang hide in my body. If Wu Feng shows up and tries to harm me, kill him immediately. Although Duan Lingtian trusted Wu Feng, he trusted the Wu Feng he trusted. However, the one he trusted was the old Wu Feng, not the Wu Feng who had merged with the remnant soul of Divine Emperor Qin Wu. He felt that Wu Feng was different from before. He might even follow him and attack him when he was cultivating. Perhaps Wu Feng wouldn't kill him directly. After all the treasures he obtained from the divine dwellings and divine treasure were in his spatial ring. If he was killed, Wu Feng was worried that his spatial ring would self-destruct. The most likely possibility was that Wu Feng would defeat him, injure him, and threaten him with his life to remove the ownership of the spatial ring. Yes, master. Huang replied respectfully. After receiving Huang reply, Duan Lingtian felt relieved and immersed himself in cultivating. As the fortune divine fruit entered his stomach, the powerful medicinal efficacy made Duan Lingtian's god force boil. As he circulated his cultivation technique, the god force in his body broke through the last bottleneck of the divine spirit realm. Bang! At this moment, Duan Lingtian broke through the bottleneck that he had never been able to break through even after hundreds and thousands of tempering attempts in the past. The entire process was so smooth that it was unbelievable. I broke through just like that? Even though Duan Lingtian was confident in the fortune divine fruit's medicinal efficacy, he didn't expect it to go so smoothly. After breaking through, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel that the god force in his body was undergoing a qualitative transformation. His originally thin and weak god force had become denser and more condensed. Bang! Huang Xiaolong punched out casually with his god force, and the resulting force hit the void, causing space to ripple. The power contained in his punch was many times stronger than before, and could not be mentioned in the same breath. However, I have only used a small portion of the fortune divine fruit's medicinal efficacy. The rest of the medicinal efficacy has dissipated, and is of no help to a God King Realm Master's God Force. At the same time, Duan Lingtian also noticed that although he had only used a small part of the fortune divine fruit's medicinal efficacy, the rest of the medicinal efficacy had dissipated after he broke through to the God King Realm. This was because it couldn't be integrated into his God Force to help his God Force increase. If others knew that Duan Lingtian had used the fortune divine fruit to break through to the God King Realm, they would definitely scold him for wasting, or recklessly wasting God's gift. But in Duan Lingtian's opinion, it wasn't a waste. Although he was only one step away from breaking through to the God King Realm, he didn't know how long it would take to break through on his own, and what he lacked the most was time. In the face of time, other things were not worth mentioning. Next, I need to consume the body-strengthening divine fruit to consolidate my low-level God King Realm cultivation. After that, I can continue to cultivate. Among the treasures left behind by God Emperor Qin Wu, there are also things that can help God King Realm cultivators, but they are not as helpful as the fortune divine fruit. In the world of gods, only after becoming a God King Realm cultivator can one be considered an expert. After becoming a God King Realm cultivator, one has to face a heavenly tribulation that comes once every 1,000 years. And after becoming a God King Realm cultivator for a period of time, the first heavenly tribulation comes. My heavenly tribulation is in 3 days. After breaking through to the low-level God King Realm, a mysterious thought emerged in Duan Lingtian's mind. This thought came out of nowhere and it resonated with the world he was in. Because of this, he sensed that his first heavenly tribulation after becoming a God King Realm cultivator was in 3 days. The first heavenly tribulation of a God King Realm cultivator, as long as one hasn't comprehended a law to the large success stage, should be able to easily cross it. Duan Lingtian had long been aware of this point. In the world of gods, having high talent didn't necessarily mean that one's comprehension was high. Some people, after becoming a higher God King Realm cultivator, still hadn't comprehended a law to the large success stage. And for these higher gods, even if they could break through to the God King Realm, they wouldn't do so. Because breaking through to the God King Realm was tantamount to courting death. However, to Duan Lingtian, his first heavenly tribulation in 3 days wasn't much. Perhaps he could break it with a casual strike. The body-strengthening divine fruit can allow me to consolidate my low-level God King Realm cultivation in a single day. Duan Lingtian looked at the body-strengthening divine fruit in his hand and his eyes shone. This body-strengthening divine fruit was his initiation gift as a core disciple of the Hidden Fog sect. When he chose this divine fruit, even the inner sect elder in charge of bringing him to receive his initiation gift couldn't understand his choice. After eating the body-strengthening divine fruit, Duan Lingtian began to cultivate and consolidate his newly broken through cultivation. And the medicinal efficacy of the body-strengthening divine fruit didn't disappoint Duan Lingtian. As the rumors said, in less than a day his low-level God King realm cultivation was completely consolidated. After consolidating my cultivation, the divine power in my body has become even more condensed. It can't be compared to a day ago. At that time, I had just broken through and my divine power wasn't as condensed as it is now. Compared to a day ago, my divine power is at least 30% stronger. Duan Lingtian was naturally satisfied with the increase in his cultivation after consolidating it. The heavenly tribulation is in 2 days. For the next 2 days Duan Lingtian didn't cultivate. As he waited for the God King realm heavenly tribulation to arrive in 2 days, he placed all his attention on the treasures he obtained from God Emperor Qin Wu's divine manor and divine treasury. Previously he only recognized a few things. He didn't study the other things he couldn't recognize at first glance, nor did he have the time to carefully study them. Chapter 37-27. Senior brother Wu Feng has obtained a total of 9 things. One of them is the fortune divine fruit, and I have already consumed it. As for me, I have obtained a total of 23 things. One of them is the high-grade divine artifact left behind by God Emperor Qin Wu, and I have already given it to senior brother Wu Feng. In other words, Duan Lingtian still possessed 30 treasures from the divine abodes left behind by heavenly Emperor Qin Wu. In the next 2 days, Duan Lingtian studied the treasures that he had not had the time to study. After some time he still couldn't figure out a part of the treasures, while the rest of the treasures were only useful to God Emperor Realm Masters. In fact, more than 90% of the 30 treasures were only useful to God Emperor Realm Masters. Then again it was normal. No matter what, God Emperor Qin Wu was still a low-level God Emperor when he died. The treasures in his hands were worthless and useless to him, so he must have either thrown them away or exchanged them for divine stones, because they were useless to him. As for the treasures used by God Emperors, he probably didn't have the time to deal with them. Right now, the only thing that can help me with my cultivation is the Heaven Primordial Divine Pill that can help divine kings increase their cultivation. Apart from that, these 2 treasures can help me increase my comprehension of the laws, but they're useless to me. Treasures that could help increase one's comprehension of laws were also targeted to a specific law. Currently, the 2 treasures in Duan Lingtian's hands that could help a god king to comprehend laws were not targeted at the law of space, hence they were useless to Duan Lingtian. Universe Essence Divine Pill can help a god king increase their cultivation. But after 3 pills the medicinal efficacy is negligible, and after 10 pills there is no effect. There were not many Universe Essence Divine Pills left behind by God Emperor Qin Wu, but they were not few either. There were a total of 6 pills. The harvest this time is not small, but it's a pity that my cultivation is too low, so I can't use more than 90% of the treasures. A smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face. A short while later, the smile on his face disappeared as he put away the bottle containing the Universe Essence Divine Pills. A sharp light flickered in his eyes as he looked up at the sky. The God King Realm Heavenly Tribulation will descend in 2 hours. 2 hours, which was 2 hours. In the following 2 hours, Duan Lingtian stepped into the air and sat quietly in the air above the small valley. He closed his eyes and rested, waiting for the first God King Heavenly Tribulation to descend upon him after he became a God King. A gentle breeze blew past, causing the flowers and trees in the small valley to sway. A drizzle fell from the sky, but when it came into contact with Duan Lingtian's body, it strangely avoided him. With Duan Lingtian's current cultivation, even if he did not deliberately activate his divine power to protect his body, just the aura of the divine power in his body that escaped through his pores was enough to form a layer of protection, blocking out things like rain that did not have a strong impact. Let alone a drizzle, even if there was a rainstorm or hail, Duan Lingtian would not be able to touch his body as long as he sat there quietly. If he did not activate his divine energy, the rain and hail would not be able to touch him at all. Finally, 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. At this time, the sky above the small valley was covered in dark clouds. The dark clouds gathered together, and thick bolts of purple lightning could be clearly seen surging like purple pythons. Boom. Boom boom boom. The thunder rumbled, causing the entire ground to tremble slightly. In the small valley below Duan Lingtian, birds flew in all directions, and some beasts also left the small valley, as if they were foretelling that there was going to be danger here. Even the surroundings of the small valley were in a panic. After about 15 minutes, the rolling bolts of lightning around the dark clouds in the sky became thicker, and the sound of thunder was even more shocking. The surroundings of the small valley returned to tranquility and peace. Within a radius of a few miles, other than Duan Lingtian and the flowers and plants, there were no other life forms. Is it finally coming? After resting for 2 hours with his eyes closed, Duan Lingtian finally opened his eyes lazily. He looked indifferently at the sky, and the lightning in the dark clouds seemed to be brewing to the extreme. Boom! After about a few breaths of time, accompanied by an earth-shattering sound, 9 thick bolts of lightning, each as thick as an adult's body, descended from the sky, whistling towards Duan Lingtian. Like 9 lightning dragons descending from the sky, they bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they pounced towards Duan Lingtian. After becoming a divine king, the time of the first divine king heavenly tribulation is uncertain. Could be a few days, 10 days, half a month, or a few months. However, it definitely won't exceed a year. The second divine king heavenly tribulation will be 1,000 years after the first divine king heavenly tribulation. After that, so on and so forth. Every divine king heavenly tribulation will have 10 bolts of lightning descending. The first divine king heavenly tribulation will have 9 bolts of lightning descending, and the second divine king heavenly tribulation will have 19 bolts of lightning descending, multiplying the power. After that, so on and so forth. The 10th divine king heavenly tribulation will have 99 bolts of lightning descending, 11 times stronger than the first divine king heavenly tribulation. Before Duan Lingtian had broken through to the godly king stage, he was well aware of the heavenly tribulation that he would have to face after breaking through to the godly king stage. For this reason, he remained calm when he faced the heavenly tribulation. It was as if someone else was transcending the tribulation, and he was only here to watch the show. It said that by provoking the divine king heavenly tribulation, all the energy in the divine king heavenly tribulation will erupt at once. Moreover, before I came to the realm of gods, Sister Shui told me that by doing so, I might be able to comprehend the law of lightning. In the face of the 9 lightning bolts that descended from the sky, Duan Lingtian rose to his feet. With just a flash of his body he vanished from his spot. Swoosh! When he reappeared he was high up in the sky. After a few more teleportations, Duan Lingtian arrived near the tribulation clouds in the sky. He stared at the tribulation clouds as he thought to himself, although I'll have to face the full brunt of the divine king heavenly tribulation by directly destroying the tribulation clouds, it's the most efficient way to overcome the divine king heavenly tribulation. At some point, Duan Lingtian had clenched his right hand into a fist. The space elemental profundity had also merged with his fist, causing his fist to emit a mysterious aura. It was as though his fist was powerful enough to shatter space itself. Boom! Rumble! At this moment, the 9 bolts of lightning that descended from the sky caught up with Duan Lingtian after he teleported to the sky. However, Duan Lingtian ignored them completely. Bang! Yi Shiwen punched out. Suddenly, a violent spatial power whizzed out and transformed into a huge fist light. It flew through the sky like a mountain, leaving behind a string of afterimages in the sky. Then, it ferociously broke into the tribulation clouds. Almost at the same moment Duan Lingtian's fist smashed into the tribulation clouds. The lightning that surrounded the tribulation clouds that had gathered together suddenly stopped and then surged into the tribulation clouds, causing the originally gloomy tribulation clouds to turn into a glowing purple cloud. Then a terrifying force exploded from within. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion reverberated in the air as a gigantic mushroom cloud appeared in a timely manner. The terrifying shockwave wreaked havoc and actually dispersed the 9 bolts of lightning that did not have the time to attack Duan Lingtian. It should be known that this was only the aftermath of the power that exploded from the tribulation clouds. The 9 bolts of lightning were still far from the tribulation clouds. They were not as close as Duan Lingtian to the tribulation clouds. Duan Lingtian faced the power of the tribulation clouds head-on. Boom! Rumble! A terrifying force bloomed. The storm-like thunderbolt power completely enveloped Duan Lingtian, who was not far away. However, outside Duan Lingtian's body, a layer of spatial energy formed a barrier that spanned across the area. It formed a spherical shape and enveloped his entire body. It completely blocked the thunderbolt power that swept toward Duan Lingtian. Currently, Duan Lingtian was in the protective shield condensed by the spatial energy. His eyes were looking straight at the center of the thundercloud explosion. The purple and white light was still blooming continuously. Moreover, each time it bloomed stronger and stronger. This was the most dazzling fireworks that Duan Lingtian had ever seen in his 2 lives. There was no comparison. However, when the power of the explosion reached its peak, it gradually faded away. In the end it returned to calmness. The aftermath of the power in the sky dissipated, and the blue sky and white clouds reappeared. It was as though the sky had cleared up after the rain. Duan Lingtian stood in the void. His purple robe fluttered, and there was not a speck of dust on his body. The explosion of the tribulation clouds did not have any effect on him. In fact, it did not even cause his robe to flutter. The last 8 tribulation thunderbolts that were brewing in the tribulation clouds exploded together. It was really terrifying. Even if Chu Han, the disciple of the Tianlong clan, stood in my position facing such explosive power, he would definitely die without a divine weapon. Although Duan Lingtian did not use a divine weapon earlier, he had further revealed his trump card, the Tao of control of the 4 Taos of heaven and earth. Of course, during the explosion of the tribulation clouds, even if there were people watching from the side, it would be difficult for them to notice that Duan Lingtian had used the Tao of control. This is the thunder element? After Duan Lingtian withdrew the law of space, he raised his hand, and a streak of divine power swept out like a spirit snake. In an instant, it turned into an electric snake that was surrounded by purple lightning. Earlier, when he was watching the thunderbolt fireworks, Duan Lingtian had a certain understanding of thunderbolt. He had also come into contact with the thunder element of the law of thunder. The law of thunder was a law that he had not come into contact with in the past. As expected, Sister Shui didn't lie to me. It's really possible to comprehend the law of thunder with this method. Previously, when the world-cleansing divine water, one of the 5 divine elements, had told him about this, he did not quite believe it. Based on his past experience, one would need to lay the groundwork to comprehend any law. It was impossible for one to comprehend a law all of a sudden. However, he had just comprehended a law of thunder that he had not come into contact with in the past. In just a blink of an eye, he had comprehended a law that he had not come into contact with in the past. Chapter 37:28. To Duan Lingtian, comprehending the thunder laws was a pleasant surprise. Although comprehending the thunder laws didn't increase his strength, comprehending an additional law without wasting time was undoubtedly a joyous matter. I'll take those 6 universe divine pills first and cultivate for a period of time. Once I consume their medicinal efficacy, I'll see if I should return to the Hidden Fog sect or head to the area around the Linghu family. After smashing apart the heavenly tribulation with a single fist, Duan Lingtian's thoughts stirred. His figure flashed and he vanished from where he was. When he appeared again, he was on the other side of the mountain forest. It was clear that he couldn't stay in the small mountain valley any longer. His heavenly tribulation had caused a great disturbance. It might draw people over. However, Duan Lingtian didn't go far. After rushing for a day, he dug out a giant pit in a cliff to serve as his next cultivation area. Universe Divine Pills. After taking 3, the medicinal efficacy is minimal, but it's better than nothing. After sitting down, Duan Lingtian took out the 6 Universe Divine Pills he obtained from the Divine Abode treasury left behind by God Emperor Qinwu and swallowed them all in one go. Then he began to cultivate. With Huang protecting him, he wholeheartedly immersed himself in cultivation. He wholeheartedly digested the medicinal efficacy of the 6 Universe Divine Pills so that he could break through to the Middle God King realm as soon as possible. As he cultivated, Duan Lingtian completely forgot about everything else for a time. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. Myriad Demon Sect. Sect Master, the people we placed in the Hidden Fog sect have sent back news that Wu Feng has returned to the Hidden Fog sect. A Myriad Demon Sect elder hurried over to report to the Myriad Demon Sect's Sect Master Lan Qing. Lan Qing couldn't help but frown. What about Duan Lingtian? There's no news. The Myriad Demon Sect elder shook his head. But according to the news we received a few days ago, Duan Lingtian is still alive. He hasn't perished. Unless he died in the last few days. The 10,000 Demon Sect had placed some people in the Hidden Fog sect, and those people had already discovered that Duan Lingtian was still alive. But only a small number of people possessed a soul bead. It wasn't until several days ago that the people the 10,000 Demon Sect placed in the Hidden Fog sect learned that Duan Lingtian was still alive. That shouldn't be possible. Lan Qing shook his head. Duan Lingtian was a monstrous genius of the Hidden Fog sect that appeared only once every 10,000 years. He had entered the ancient ruins and hadn't died yet, so how could he have died in these past few days? It should be because he didn't follow Wu Feng back to the Hidden Fog sect. Thinking of this, Lan Qing's eyes flashed. He looked at the 1,000 Demon Sect elder in front of him and said, "Ask the people over there to confirm whether Duan Lingtian is alive or dead." Yes. After the 1,000 demonic sect elder responded, Lan Qing asked him to leave. Then he went to the 1,000 demonic sect's supreme elder Du Zhan's cultivation place. Of course he did not come to find Du Zhan. He came to find Kuang Tianjing. However, although he didn't come to find Du Zhan, this was still Du Zhan's cultivation place. As soon as he arrived, Du Zhan appeared. What is it? Is there any new news? Martial uncle. Lan Qing first greeted Du Zhan and then nodded. Come with me to see senior apprentice brother. Du Zhan immediately called out to Lan Qing and led him to Kuang Tianjing. Kuang Tianjing was sitting in meditation in a quiet courtyard. When Du Zhan and Lan Qing appeared together outside the courtyard, he opened his eyes. Senior apprentice brother, that brat Lan Qing has brought new news. Du Zhan stood outside the courtyard and greeted him. Come in. As Kuang Tianjing responded, Du Zhan and Lan Qing once again stepped into the courtyard. They returned to the Hidden Fog sect? As soon as the two entered, Kuang Tianjing's eyes fell on Lan Qing. An extremely cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes. Even if it wasn't directed at Lan Qing still felt his entire body turn cold, as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. Although he was also a divine emperor, he was only a lower divine emperor. As for this martial uncle of his, he was a middle divine emperor. At the divine emperor realm, even the difference of a small realm was as wide as a chasm. Standing in front of him, one would feel a certain amount of pressure. Wu Feng returned to the Hidden Fog sect. Lan Qing responded. Wu Feng. Kuang Tianjing frowned. Just him? Yes. Lan Qing nodded. Just him. As for that Duan Lingtian, he didn't return with him. I guess that Duan Lingtian must have something else to do, so he stayed outside. Of course, it's also possible that he died in the last few days. Lan Qing said. Died in the last few days? Is that possible? Kuang Tianjing shook his head. I don't want that possibility. Have the people we placed in the Hidden Fog sect confirm whether or not that Duan Lingtian is still alive. Martial uncle, I already told them to confirm. As Lan Qing's voice fell, he looked at Kuang Tianjing. Martial uncle, that Wu Feng has returned to the Hidden Fog sect. Do you want to attack him now or wait for Duan Lingtian to return before attacking? Naturally, we will wait for that Duan Lingtian to return. Kuang Tianjing said as if it was a matter of fact. If we go to the Hidden Fog sect now, regardless of whether or not we kill Wu Feng, as long as we target Wu Feng, we will alert the enemy and alarm that Duan Lingtian. Wait, if we can confirm that Duan Lingtian is dead, then I will look for that Wu Feng. If Duan Lingtian isn't dead, then we will wait. Kuang Tianjing's attitude was clear. Like this, Kuang Tianjing and the others began to wait for news. They waited for news of whether or not Duan Lingtian had died. They didn't wait for long. Several days later, the spies the myriad demon sect placed in the Hidden Fog sect returned with news. Duan Lingtian isn't dead. Since Duan Lingtian wasn't dead, then what they had to do next was clear. Wait. Wait until death. And as for the person involved, Duan Lingtian, he had no idea that the Hidden Fog sect didn't just have Dragon Shao waiting for him. Even an inner sect elder of a god emperor level sect, the Heavenly Demon sect, had his eyes on him. In a cave that had been artificially carved out of a cliff, Duan Lingtian was calmly cultivating, wholeheartedly digesting the medicinal efficacy of the Heaven Essence Divine Pills. Of the 6 Heaven Essence Divine Pills, the first 3 were relatively difficult to digest. As for the remaining 3, with the first 3 as a foundation, they were much easier to digest. But the increase in strength it brought to Duan Lingtian was minuscule. In fact, the medicinal efficacy of the last 3 Heaven Essence Divine Pills added together wasn't even a tenth of the first 3 Heaven Essence Divine Pills. When the last 3 Heaven Essence Divine Pills were consumed, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes and bitterly smiled. If I had known that the medicinal efficacy of the Heaven Essence Divine Pills would be so minuscule after 3 pills, I wouldn't have taken them. This was something he hadn't expected. He originally thought that since it was a Heaven Essence Divine Pill, no matter how weak the medicinal efficacy was, it would still bring him a considerable increase in strength. However, while his imagination was beautiful, reality was cruel. Of course, Duan Lingtian soon recovered from his regretful mood. With things having come this far, regret was useless. After all, what was done couldn't be undone. No matter how much he thought about it, it would only add to his troubles. But, after stepping into the God King realm, the improvement in my cultivation has slowed down so much. After taking 6 Heaven Essence Divine Pills, my cultivation hasn't even reached half of the difference between a low-level God King realm and a mid-level God King realm, at most 1/3. And this is after I took the Heaven Essence Divine Pill, which is one of the top 3 divine pills a God King Realm cultivator takes. After sighing with emotion, Duan Ling Tian asked the 7 orifices exquisite sword spirit, Huang, how long have I been in seclusion this time? 3 months and 21 days. Huang answered promptly, telling Duan Ling Tian the exact time he had been in seclusion, down to every day. Close to 4 months? Duan Ling Tian was surprised. He hadn't expected to spend so much time in seclusion this time. One had to know that whether it was the Nature Fortune Pill or the Fortune Divine Fruit, he had been able to completely digest the medicinal efficacy in a single day, and his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. In comparison, this cultivation speed wasn't considered slow, but in Duan Ling Tian's subconscious mind, it seemed a little slow. It seems like the cultivation path of a God King Realm cultivator isn't something a God Spirit Realm cultivator can compare to. Although Duan Ling Tian had heard about this before, he was still shocked when he personally experienced the difference. It was no wonder that in the plains of gods, only God Kings were worthy of the title of expert. Without the Heaven Essence Divine Pills, Duan Ling Tian didn't have the mood to continue cultivating. Now, should I return to the Hidden Fog sect, or should I go to the Linghu family and see if I can find a way to meet Linghu Chuyin? Just as this thought appeared in his mind, Duan Ling Tian made a decision in his heart. Go to the Linghu family. Thinking that Linghu Chuyin might be his wife, Duan Ling Tian found it hard to suppress his emotions. The Linghu family was a God Emperor rank force that wasn't any weaker than the Hidden Fog sect and Myriad Demon sect. With the Monarch Descent city that Duan Ling Tian had visited as the boundary, the Hidden Fog sect was in the east, the Myriad Demon sect was in the south, and the Linghu family was in the north. As for the west, it was a God Emperor rank force, the Tianlong clan. The Tianlong clan was a God Emperor rank force that the Hidden Fog sect, Myriad Demon sect, and Linghu family worshipped. Just like the Hidden Fog sect and Myriad Demon sect, the Linghu family had been sending their clan's geniuses to the Tianlong clan. Because of this, within the Tianlong clan, it wasn't just the Hidden Fog sect and Myriad Demon sect that had some background. Even the Linghu family's background wasn't small. However, as a family clan, the Linghu family clan was different from the Hidden Fog sect and 10,000 Demon sect. The 10,000 Demon sect and Hidden Fog sect were stationed in the wilderness, while the Linghu family clan was stationed in a bustling city. This city was called Linghu City. In truth, this city was built by the Linghu family. It was expanded with the Linghu family as the center. In terms of scale, Linghu City wasn't much worse than Monarch Descent City. It was much larger than the Skywind City that Duan Ling Tian had visited before and the other cities that he had visited. The Linghu family. With Duan Ling Tian's current speed, it only took him half a month to arrive at Linghu City. After arriving at Linghu City, the first thing Duan Ling Tian did was inquire about the Linghu family's location. After asking around, he learned that the Linghu family was located in the east of Linghu City. The family mansion was large, almost 1/5 the size of Linghu City. Chapter 37-29. The Linghu family was a God Emperor level clan. Their residence was in Linghu City, which they had built with their own hands. There was a large area to the east of Linghu City that was still some distance away from the Linghu family's residence. Thus, outsiders were forbidden from approaching. Outside, the Linghu family's patrolling elders and disciples stood guard everywhere. If outsiders approached, they would immediately appear and stop them. If they cooperated, it would be fine. If they didn't cooperate, the Linghu family's patrolling elders and disciples would directly attack them. They might even kill them. Because of this, very few people approached the eastern area of Linghu City. If they did, they might provoke the Linghu family. The Linghu family was the absolute overlord of Linghu City. Unless a God Emperor level force personally came, the Linghu family wouldn't give face to anyone. Even God Emperor level sects like the Hidden Fog sect and the Myriad Demon sect were only on equal footing with the Linghu family. Although I know where the Linghu family is, it's obviously impossible for me to visit them so brazenly. It looks like I have to think of another way. After all, he had just arrived in Linghu City. Duan Ling Tian wasn't in a hurry. He first found an inn to stay in, then went out to continue gathering information. It won't be difficult to infiltrate the Linghu family. After all, the Linghu family has many servants and so on. However, even if I infiltrate the Linghu family, it will still be difficult for me to find Linghu Chuyin. Moreover, I might be discovered by the Linghu family's experts before I find her. Although I've stepped into the God King realm, the Linghu family has as many experts as there are clouds in the sky. They even have many God Emperor level experts who can kill me as easily as cutting grass. The moment Duan Lingtian thought of infiltrating the Linghu family, he completely dispelled the idea. Right now there are only two ways. The first is to wait for Linghu Chuyin to come out. I'll meet her again and confirm her identity. However, this method is not very feasible. Even if that old woman from last time is not by her side. Duan Lingtian had a look of dread on his face when he thought of the old woman by Linghu Chuyin's side that he had encountered in King's Descent City. That was a God Emperor. Even with his current strength, he was no match for him. Secondly, get to know someone from the Linghu family, preferably a direct descendant of a certain status. This way I can openly follow him into the Linghu family. Under such circumstances, as a friend of a direct descendant of the Linghu family, I would naturally not be targeted by the experts of the Linghu family. In fact, as long as that direct descendant is willing to help, it should not be difficult to meet Linghu Chuyin. In the end, Duan Lingtian did not choose to take the risk. Instead, he began to ask around for information, trying to understand the direct descendants of the Linghu family. Half a month later, he had his eyes on someone. The fourth son of the Linghu family's current patriarch, Linghu Yun. Linghu Yun was only a 10 Directions celestial emperor. However, it was said that he did not have the chance to become a god. This was because he was injured and could not continue to cultivate. He would be stuck as a 10 Directions celestial emperor for the rest of his life. As for the injuries in his body, they were caused by his father, the current master of the Linghu family. He had used his body to block a fatal blow for his father. It was also because of this that he had saved his father's life at the cost of being seriously injured. After that incident, even though Linghu Yun's cultivation was mediocre, the current patriarch of the Linghu family doted on him the most. The other direct descendants of the Linghu family also took good care of Linghu Yun in order to curry favor with the patriarch of the Linghu family. Of course, there was another reason why they were so good to Linghu Yun. Due to Linghu Yun's stagnant cultivation, it was destined that he would not be able to compete with them for the position of the next patriarch of the Linghu family. Moreover, they were brothers. Moreover, if they were good to Linghu Yun, they would be able to curry favor with the current patriarch of the Linghu family. Only fools would not be good to Linghu Yun. Linghu Yun's cultivation can no longer improve, so he doesn't waste any time cultivating. His favorite hobby is to listen to stories in a tea house in Linghu City. There was a tea house in Linghu City where people would tell stories every few days. It was similar to the storytellers in Duan Lingtian's previous life. In fact, the tea house was one of the Linghu family's businesses. It was opened for Linghu Yun. The purpose was to provide a place for Linghu Yun to listen to stories. The income from the tea house was so little that it did not even cover the cost of maintaining the operation of the tea house. However, it had been open for more than 1,000 years. The Cloud Pavilion was a tea house opened by the Linghu family in Linghu City. It was deserted. Only a few dozen people were sitting in the main hall drinking tea. At the back of the main hall was a private room with a curtain. One could vaguely see that there were luxurious tables and chairs inside. Speaking of which, the Emperor God powerhouse who broke into Tunglung province from the outside 2,000 years ago was very majestic. He looked down on the various Emperor God powerhouses in Tunglung province. He wanted to use his own strength to suppress several large sections. However, in the end he was defeated by the leader of one of the Emperor God powerhouses. He was almost killed. In the end, he was spared because he swore a heart demon blood oath that he was willing to be loyal to that Emperor God powerhouse for 10,000 years. As for who that person was, in fact, there was no such person. This story was made up by me. A middle-aged man sat cross-legged at the other end of the main hall. He had a medium build and was holding a book in one hand. His other hand was stroking the goatee on his chin. The guests sitting at the 3 tables in the main hall could not help but roll their eyes when they heard the middle-aged man's story. The storyteller that the Cloud Pavilion recently hired is not good. He's telling a good story. Isn't it good to make us yearn for it? In the end he said it was made up. That's right. How boring. I heard that this person is very stubborn. The Cloud Pavilion asked him to pay a generous sum of divine stones after he finished telling the story, not to mention that it was made up. However, he was unwilling. While the guests at the 3 tables in the main hall were discussing animatedly, a purple figure walked in from outside. He walked to an empty table and sat down. He listened to the guests at the 3 tables with interest. At this moment, a young man in brocade robes who was sitting at a luxurious table behind a curtain at the back of the main hall could not help but frown slightly. This fellow. How many times have I told him off? Does he still not learn his lesson? Since he's so stubborn, let him pack up and leave. The young man was dressed in a long blue robe. His handsome face was slightly pale. At this moment, there was a hint of anger in his tone. Yes, fourth young master. A middle-aged man in brocade robes who was standing at one side of the table answered respectfully and walked out. On the chair beside the young man sat an old man who was resting with his eyes closed. The old man had white hair and a ruddy complexion. He exuded an immortal aura from head to toe. Young Yun, if you let him pack up and leave, I'm afraid you won't have any stories to listen to for the next few days. After the middle-aged man in brocade robes walked out, the old man opened his eyes and said to the young man with a smile, "That's nothing. At most, we'll wait a few more days for the newcomer to tell us. This fellow's stories are, to be honest, passable. However, he always likes to add at the end that the beginning is made up. It's so awkward no matter how you listen to it." The young man said unconcernedly, "If I listen to his stories again, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist going out and beating him up." Outside. After the middle-aged man in brocade robes walked out of the inner room, he walked directly to the middle-aged man who had just finished telling the story and was sitting cross-legged on a high platform at the other end of the main hall with an intoxicated expression. Fourth young master said to get lost. This is your reward for today. The middle-aged man in brocade robes was the shopkeeper of Cloud Tower. He casually tossed a few divine stones to the middle-aged man on the platform and said somewhat impatiently, "Take your reward and get lost." From the day he became the shopkeeper of Cloud Tower, he knew that Cloud Tower existed solely to serve the Linghu family's fourth young master. If it weren't for the fact that the fourth young master liked to listen to stories with others and listen to their opinions on stories, Cloud Tower wouldn't even exist. He could have just taken the man directly to the Linghu family to tell the fourth young master stories. There was no need to specially set up a tea house like Cloud Tower. It was made up in the first place. Do you really think it's true? You're crazy. The middle-aged man scolded. Then he picked up the divine stones on the ground in front of him and left without looking back. I'm a man of principles. I won't mislead you into believing a fabricated story to be true. After the middle-aged man left, the guests at the three tables in the main hall couldn't help but roll their eyes. At this moment, the middle-aged man in brocade robes looked at the guests at the three tables and said apologetically, "Everyone, I'm sorry for disturbing your mood today. Don't worry, in a few days our Cloud Tower will definitely find a reliable person to tell the story to. Shopkeeper, your Cloud Tower should have changed a long time ago. Before that fellow came to your Cloud Tower, there were never less than 10 tables of people who came to drink tea and listen to stories. Look at today, there are only 4 tables of people including us." One of the guests at one of the tables said as he looked at the tables with guests in the main hall, including the table of the purple-clad young man who came in later. The purple-clad young man was none other than Duan Lingtian. When Duan Lingtian arrived, he happened to hear the person who was telling the story to Cloud Tower earlier. When the words "I made up the story" entered Duan Lingtian's ears, Duan Lingtian could almost foresee the mood of the person who was listening to the story. When one was engrossed in the story, one would involuntarily be immersed in it and enjoy everything in it. One might even discuss it and guess if the person in the story could be found in reality. All of this would make one look forward to it. However, if the person at the end of the story said that the story was made up, it would undoubtedly destroy this sense of anticipation. How could it not be hated? Why don't I give it a try? When the middle-aged man in brocade robes was apologizing to the guests at the three tables, Duan Lingtian stood up and walked slowly to the high platform at the other end of the main hall. Although he sounded like he was asking, his actions did not seem like he was asking anyone. Chapter 37:30. Why don't I give it a try? When they heard Duan Lingtian's words, everyone present could not help but be stunned. Even Linghu Yun, the fourth young master of the Linghu family, and the old man beside him were shocked by the sudden scene before them. It was not until Duan Lingtian ascended the high platform and sat down with his legs crossed that everyone came back to their senses. He said he would give it a try? Is he going to tell us a story? In the Cloud Tower, all eyes were focused on Duan Lingtian. Most of these eyes were filled with surprise and doubt. This young man in purple was handsome and had an extraordinary temperament. He looked like a disciple of an aristocratic family. However, no matter how doubtful the crowd was, Duan Lingtian had already begun to tell the story. It is said that this world was originally chaotic until a giant named Pan Gu appeared and split the chaos with a giant axe in his hand. Then there was heaven and earth. After heaven and earth were created, Pan Gu fell. His blood turned into mountains, rivers, and seas. As soon as Duan Lingtian opened his mouth, He began to tell the story of Pangu's creation of heaven and earth in his previous life. As he continued, the doubts in the crowd's eyes disappeared and were replaced with interest. When Duan Lingtian roughly finished telling the story of Pangu's creation of heaven and earth, it was already an hour later. At this time, the crowd was still immersed in the story and could not extricate themselves. Creation of heaven and earth. His body fell and turned into everything in the world. What kind of achievement was this? All the people present were men and were hot-blooded. After putting themselves in the shoes of the character in the story, they could only feel their blood boiling. Finally, after a few breaths of time, a middle-aged man slammed the table and stood up with a bang. He gave Duan Lingtian a thumbs up. Good. Pangu's creation of heaven and earth. Little brother, I really didn't expect that someone who looks so young and doesn't seem like a commoner would be able to tell such a wonderful story. Amazing. The others were also awakened by the middle-aged man. They began to whisper to each other and discuss spiritedly. A man should be like Pangu, creating heaven and earth and turning into everything in the world. My weapon is also an axe. Looks like I have foresight. I'll create a move later. I'll call it Creation of Heaven and Earth. This story, regardless of whether it's true or not, once one's imagination is stretched, it makes one's blood boil. In fact, the story of Pangu's creation of heaven and earth was just a short story that came to Duan Lingtian. What he did not expect was that the feedback would be so strong. Even the eyes of the middle-aged man in luxurious clothes, who was the shopkeeper of Cloud Tower, could not help but light up. In the next moment, he seemed to have sensed something and subconsciously glanced at the inner room on the other side of the hall. That was because their Linghu family's fourth young master, Linghu Yun, had sent him a message. Have him tell another story. If he can maintain this standard. No, as long as his standard doesn't drop too much, we'll use him. Triple pay. Yes, young master. The middle-aged man replied respectfully. At the same time, he looked at Duan Lingtian and said with a smile, Sir, how about another story? Sure. Faced with the Cloud Tower shopkeeper's enthusiasm, Duan Lingtian inadvertently glanced at the inner room. As the door to the inner room was covered with a gauze curtain, Duan Lingtian could only vaguely see two figures inside. Then, under the expectant gazes of the people in the Cloud Tower's main hall, Duan Lingtian began to tell another story. This time the story he told was a long one. It was written by his favorite author in his previous life. It was about a legendary figure. After experiencing it for 2 lives, he even suspected that the story was real. Because everything in the story was traceable to him, who had achieved success in his cultivation. If everything was real, he might have a chance to meet the person. Duan Lingtian began to speak slowly. In the mundane plane there was a planet called Earth. It was a beautiful blue planet. One day, a crazy Taoist brought a young man across the universe from a mysterious planet to this planet. From then on, the young man began his magnificent life on Earth. In 1,000 years, he stood at the top of the universe and was only a step away from becoming a god. However, an accident brought him back to 1,000 years ago. Duan Lingtian was telling a story written by his favorite author in his previous life. It was also his favorite story. It was called The Great East Royal Emperor. He still remembered that when he was carrying out a mission overseas, he was so engrossed in it that he lost track of time and almost failed the mission. From this, it could be seen how attractive this East Royal Great Emperor was. Duan Lingtian believed that as long as he told the story, the people in front of him would be unable to extricate themselves from it. Of course, his goal was to make the Linghu family's fourth young master, Linghu Yun, unable to extricate himself from it. Unknowingly, the sky outside had turned dark. That's all for today. Duan Lingtian spoke unhurriedly as he looked at the group of people before him who still wished to continue speaking after speaking for an entire afternoon. However, as soon as Duan Lingtian spoke, the crowd came back to their senses and tried to stop Duan Lingtian. Little brother, don't stop, continue. We haven't heard the end yet. What happened after that? That ungrateful Chindandan, did she get her retribution? That's right, little brother, hurry up and continue. I really want to know if Zhou Donghuang made Chindandan regret it. Little brother, hurry up and say it. I really want to know if Zhou Donghuang met his biological parents and successfully rescued them. The atmosphere in the hall was stirred up. The guests at the 3 tables all looked at Duan Lingtian, hoping that he would continue. Shopkeeper. Duan Lingtian looked at the well-dressed middle-aged man standing at the side. He was the shopkeeper of Cloud Tower and said telepathically, at this time Cloud Tower should be closed, right? After receiving Duan Lingtian's telepathic message, the shopkeeper of Cloud Tower finally came back to his senses. He had been so engrossed in the story that Duan Lingtian had told him that he could not extricate himself. It was as if he had become the character in the story and had gone through thick and thin with him. The shopkeeper hesitated when he heard this. However, seeing the determination in Duan Lingtian's eyes, he gritted his teeth and said to the crowd in the hall, "Everyone, it's time for Cloud Tower to close. Please leave. Next, I will have a good chat with this little brother and try to get him to come to Cloud Tower to tell stories starting tomorrow." When the crowd heard the shopkeeper of Cloud Tower, they were unhappy at first. However, when they heard the last part, their eyes lit up. "Shopkeeper, you have to get him. If he is willing to tell stories in Cloud Tower, I will bring 5 people over tomorrow. I will bring 10 people over to listen. Shopkeeper, I will come again tomorrow. If he is not here, I will never enter Cloud Tower again." Before the dozen or so guests left reluctantly, they all looked at the shopkeeper of Cloud Tower. As they spoke, some were tempting, some were threatening, and some were acting shamelessly. The shopkeeper of Cloud Tower did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, when he thought about the story that the young man in purple had told, he could understand how these people felt. Because even he wanted to know the rest of the story. In next to no time, the over 10 guests in the Cloud Pavilion's main hall left, and the manager ordered the attendant to close the door before he looked at Duan Lingtian with a smile on his face. "Little brother, how should I address you?" Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian did not conceal his identity. In his plan he had to use his true identity. Duan Lingtian? The shopkeeper of Cloud Tower was stunned. He felt that this name was familiar, but he couldn't recall where he had heard it from. At the same time, in the inner room, the Linghu family's 4th young master, Linghu Yun, also had a puzzled expression. "Duan Lingtian? I think I've heard this name somewhere before. It's him." At this time, the old man beside Linghu Yun cried out in surprise. "Grandpa Xian, do you know him?" Linghu Yun looked at the old man and asked curiously. "Boy Yun, do you remember the news that came back from Monarch Descent City several months ago?" The old man smiled. As the old man spoke, a light flashed in Linghu Yun's mind. His eyes brightened. "I remember. Several months ago, Elder Qing Zhe and cousin Chuyin went to Monarch Descent City. On the way, a hidden fog sect disciple appeared, and that hidden fog sect disciple was the first Divine Spirit Realm core disciple in the hidden fog sect in 10,000 years. His name is Duan Lingtian. It's him." Linghu Yun looked at the purple-clothed youth on the other side of the hall with surprise. "I never thought that his talent and perception would be so high. He even knows how to tell such an interesting story. He really is an all-rounder." When Linghu Yun reached the end of his sentence, he revealed a look of admiration in his eyes. "Boy Yun, do you believe that this Duan Lingtian really has the intention of coming to Cloud Tower to tell stories?" The old man's deep gaze pierced through the curtains. He looked at the purple-clothed figure on the other side of the hall, a mocking smile on his face. "Grandpa Xian, you mean he has an ulterior motive?" Linghu Yun wasn't a fool. After the old man pointed this out, he immediately understood. With his status, he definitely doesn't lack the meager amount of divine stones he earns from telling stories in my Cloud Tower. It looks like he might have come for me. Hearing Linghu Yun's words, the old man turned to look at him, a trace of relief in his eyes. "If I'm not wrong, this boy probably wants to pass through and see Miss Chuyin. How interesting." Linghu Yun smiled. Then he sent a sound transmission to the manager of Cloud Tower who was still negotiating with Duan Lingtian. "Bring him in. Tell him I want to see him." The manager of Cloud Tower was stunned for a moment, but he soon regained his composure. He smiled at Duan Lingtian and said, "Little brother, our young master invites you in." Chapter 37-31. Hearing the shopkeeper's words, Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed. He knew that the first step of his plan was a success. The Linghu family's 4th young master, Linghu Yun, wanted to meet him personally. "Okay." Duan Lingtian stood up and followed the shopkeeper to the inner room at the other end of the hall. The shopkeeper opened the door curtain and gestured to Duan Lingtian to enter. "Little brother, please." Duan Lingtian wasn't courteous and walked in with a few steps. The shopkeeper did not follow him in. He even left the inner room door. After Duan Lingtian entered, he received a telepathic message from Linghu Yun, asking him to leave. When he left, he asked the few servants standing in front of the closed door to leave as well. Instantly, in the huge hall in the inner room, only Duan Lingtian, Linghu Yun, and the old man beside Linghu Yun were left. Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian had just entered and stood still when Linghu Yun spoke first. "You spent so much effort telling such a story to whet people's appetites. It should be to see me, right? Fourth young master is indeed as quick-witted as the rumors say. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly and did not deny it. For what? Just to see my cousin Chuyin? Ling Hu Yun asked with a smile. Yes. Duan Lingtian did not intend to beat around the bush with Ling Hu Yun. Now that he heard the other party ask this, he naturally did not deny it. I advise you to give up on this idea. Ling Hu Yun shook his head and said, ever since cousin Chuyin followed my aunt back to the Ling Hu family, and after cousin Chuyin revealed her beauty, there were many people who came forward to propose marriage. There were even people who asked my father to personally take action, but he was still firmly rejected by my aunt. Even to the extent that my aunt personally announced that cousin Chuyin would never get married in her lifetime. Ling Hu Yun originally thought that Duan Lingtian would back off after hearing this. However, Duan Lingtian did not. I've heard this before. What? Do you think you can change my aunt's mind with the talent and comprehension you've shown? I advise you not to think too much. No one can change the time my aunt has decided. Not only my father, even the elders in my family can't change it. Ling Hu Yun continued shaking his head. I think you've misunderstood. Duan Lingtian looked at Ling Hu Yun, smiled faintly and said, I want to see Ling Hu Chuyin not because I want to pursue her. Duan Lingtian's words stunned Ling Hu Yun. If you don't want to pursue her, why do you insist on seeing her? You even came up with such a plan? From his point of view, Duan Lingtian's earlier actions could be said to have put in a lot of effort. However, under such circumstances, Duan Lingtian actually said that he wasn't trying to woo his cousin Chuyin? One had to know that Duan Lingtian had already admitted that he wanted to meet his cousin Chuyin through him. I want to see her because she looks a lot like my long-lost wife. While Ling Hu Yun was still puzzled, Duan Lingtian calmly repeated what he had told Wu Feng to Ling Hu Yun. I came to the Cloud Pavilion today to ask you to bring me to see her because I want to confirm if she's my wife. It's because she looks exactly like my wife. Not only does she look like my wife, but her temperament is also the same. At this point, Duan Lingtian's expression turned solemn. If you're worried that I'll harm her, you can ask the person next to you to keep an eye on her. If I overstep my boundaries with his strength at the Divine Emperor stage, he'll be able to protect Ling Hu Chuyin and even kill me. Before coming here, Duan Lingtian had done some research on Ling Hu Yun, the fourth young master of the Ling Hu family. He knew that although Ling Hu Yun was only a 10 Directions celestial emperor, he was protected by a Divine Emperor powerhouse. The Divine Emperor powerhouse was an old servant of the Ling Hu family. His name was Ling Hu Xian. The current clan leader of the Ling Hu family had grown up with him and treated him like a father. Ling Hu Xian had even acknowledged him as his foster father. For this reason, after his fourth son Ling Hu Yun lost the opportunity to become a deity because of him, he had asked his foster father to protect Ling Hu Yun. Since Ling Hu Xian had never married, he treated the current clan leader of the Ling Hu family as his own son. Naturally, he also treated Ling Hu Yun as his own grandson. Moreover, Ling Hu Yun had saved his foster son's life. Naturally, he was willing to protect him. Among the younger generation of the Ling Hu family, Ling Hu Yun and Ling Hu Chuyin were the only ones who were protected by a Divine Emperor powerhouse. Moreover, there were special reasons for this. Ling Hu Yun had risked his life to save his father, the current clan leader of the Ling Hu family. As a result, his cultivation base had stagnated. As for Ling Hu Chuyin, it was because she had a good mother. Little fellow, you've done your homework before coming here. You actually know that I'm a Divine Emperor, Ling Hu Xian said. Ling Hu Xian asked as he looked at Duan Lingtian. His expression froze for a moment before he asked, why be broken through to the Divine King stage? When he spoke earlier, he instinctively extended his divine consciousness and shrouded Duan Lingtian. To his surprise, he discovered that Duan Lingtian was not a higher deity, but a lower godly king. I broke through not long ago. Duan Lingtian nodded. Then he looked at Ling Hu Yun. His eyes flashed. Fourth young master, if you're willing to help me, I, Duan Lingtian, will owe you a favor. Ling Hu Yun looked at Duan Lingtian and did not speak for a long time. He seemed to be thinking about something. After a while, he came back to his senses and looked at Ling Hu Xian beside him. Grandpa Xian, what do you think? Ling Hu Xian nodded. If I'm by your side, this little fellow indeed won't have the chance to play any tricks. Ling Hu Yun nodded. Then he looked at Duan Lingtian with a smile. Duan Lingtian, I can promise you that I'll bring you to our Ling Hu family and let you meet cousin Chuyin. However, other than the favor you owe me, I also want to know the follow-up to the long story you told me later, the Great East Royal Emperor. If it's not convenient for you to tell me, you can record it in a memory jade slip. I'll slowly read it myself. I also want to know how the main character of the story, Zhou Donghuang, killed Chen Dandan, who betrayed his adoptive mother, Lin Lan. I also want to know if he changed the fate of his biological parents after he returned 1,000 years ago. Ling Huyun said. No problem. Duan Ling Tian agreed immediately. I'll record the memory jade slip for you after I meet Ling Hu Chuin. As for the favor, you can ask me for it at any time. As long as it's within my power, I won't refuse. Of course, your request can't go against my principles. When he reached the end of his sentence, Duan Ling Tian added. This was to prevent Ling Huyun from asking for too much and asking him to do something that went against his bottom line. Of course. I, Ling Huyun, have my own bottom line. Ling Huyun smiled. Then the two exchanged soul orbs so that they could contact each other in the future. When will you bring me to see Ling Hu Chuin? After exchanging soul orbs, Duan Ling Tian asked bluntly. If possible, he didn't want to wait a moment longer. Let's do it now, Ling Huyun said. It just so happens that my aunt has gone out recently and isn't at home. Only Elder Qingzhe is by cousin Qian's side. Ling Hu Qingzhe? Duan Ling Tian frowned. Previously in Junlin City, it was Ling Hu Qingzhe who stopped him. Otherwise, he would have already seen Ling Hu Chuin and confirmed whether she was his wife. Don't worry. Ling Huyun smiled and said, Elder Qingzhe, I'll get Grandfather Shen to pretend that he has something to do and lure her away. Hearing Ling Huyun's words, Duan Ling Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Then Duan Ling Tian followed Ling Huyun and Ling Huyun out of Cloud Tower. They headed all the way to the eastern district of Linghu City, where the Linghu family's mansion was. Elder Shen, young Master Yun. When Duan Ling Tian and the other two arrived at the periphery of the Linghu family's mansion, they could already see the Linghu family's mansion in the distance. A group of patrolling disciples of the Linghu family stopped in their tracks and bowed respectfully to Linghu Yun and Linghu Yun. You may leave. As Linghu Shen spoke, the group of patrolling disciples of the Linghu family retreated. Even though they saw that Duan Ling Tian was a stranger, they didn't say much. Linghu Yun and Linghu Shen had personally brought people over. Not to mention that there was basically no problem. Even if there was a problem, it wasn't something they could control. Fourth young master, how much do you know about Linghu Chuin? Is she your aunt's biological daughter? Before entering the Linghu family's mansion, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but ask. I don't know. Linghu Yun shook his head. You don't know? Duan Ling Tian was startled. Isn't she your aunt? You don't know about her? When Linghu Yun heard this, he couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly. Although she's my aunt before she came back this time, I've only seen her once when I was young. After that, I only know that she went to the Divine Offering Land and disappeared without a trace. She only came back recently. When she came back, she brought cousin Chuin with her. Linghu Yun said. In other words, are you sure that she brought Linghu Chuin back from the Divine Offering Land? Duan Ling Tian's eyes were burning with desire. Yes. Linghu Yun nodded. This is basically confirmed. After all, she came back from the Divine Offering Land. Didn't the spatial passage between the realms of gods close recently? Duan Ling Tian frowned. How did she come back from the Divine Offering Land? Through the realm battlefield, Linghu Yun said. The spatial barrier in the realm battlefield is relatively weak. As long as there's a beacon, one can open a spatial passage through the realm battlefield and go to where one wants to go. A beacon? Duan Ling Tian asked curiously. It's also considered a divine artifact. It can store the coordinates of a realm of gods so one won't get lost in the spatial passage, Linghu Yun explained. Linghu Yun explained, of course, although this kind of divine artifact has no offensive or defensive capabilities, it's still extremely difficult to refine. It can be considered a high-quality divine artifact. Even in our Linghu family, there are only 2 such divine artifacts. The one in my aunt's hands is one of them. Realization dawned on Duan Ling Tian. If this was the case, it would explain how the second miss of the Linghu family returned to the Shengang land from the Divine Offering Land. Chapter 37-32. Linghu Chuin is confirmed to be from the world of divine remains. Also, I'm not sure if she's the daughter of the former second miss of the Linghu family. Duan Lingtian's heart was burning when he heard these 2 points from Linghu Yun. In this case, the possibility of Linghu Chuin being Kerr was even greater. Because of this, Duan Lingtian's eyes were filled with anticipation as he looked at the Linghu family's mansion in front of him. Duan Lingtian, follow me to my residence first. I'll ask Grandpa Shen to look for Elder Qingzhe and lure him away. After that, I'll bring you to see cousin Chuin. If I'm alone, even if Elder Qing Zhe is here, he won't stop me from getting close to cousin Chuin. However, I'm afraid you won't be able to. After entering the Linghu clan's estate, Linghu Yun said to Duan Ling Tian, last time your actions in Monarch Descent City could be said to have made Elder Qing Zhe remember you. If she were to see you, even if I wanted to help you, I would be unable to. I'll listen to fourth young master's arrangements. Duan Ling Tian nodded. To him, being able to see Linghu Chuin was the most important thing. As for the process, it was not important. Grandpa Xian, I'll have to trouble you from now on. When Linghu Yun saw Duan Ling Tian nodding, he turned to look at Linghu Xian who was standing next to him. Linghu Xian nodded and headed in another direction. It was obvious he was going to look for Linghu Qingzhe. As for Duan Ling Tian, he returned to the latter's residence with Linghu Yun. Duan Ling Tian, although cousin Chuyin's origin coincides with your wife in many aspects, I still have to remind you that she might not necessarily be your wife. After returning to his residence, Linghu Yun said to Duan Ling Tian with a serious expression. I know. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Fourth young master, as long as you help me see her and let me confirm it in person, even if she's not my wife, I won't go back on my promise to you, fourth young master. I, Linghu Yun, am quite good at judging people. I'm not worried that you'll go back on your word. Linghu Yun shook his head and said, I just want you to be mentally prepared. I don't want you to be too disappointed when the time comes. Yes. Duan Ling Tian nodded again. A moment later, before Linghu Xian's news arrived, Duan Ling Tian thought of something. He looked at Linghu Yun and asked, Fourth young master, does that cousin of yours show any signs of amnesia? Amnesia? Linghu Yun was startled at first, then he shook his head. I can't say for sure. After all, she and I only greeted each other. We didn't even chat. All these years after she came to the Linghu family, she spent most of her time in her own courtyard and rarely came out. Although Linghu Yun's words made Duan Ling Tian somewhat disappointed, it at least showed that Linghu Yun could not confirm that Linghu Chuin had not lost her memory. Under such circumstances, there was a very high possibility that Linghu Chuin had also lost her memory. As for whether or not he had amnesia, he would have to wait until he saw the other party and confirmed it himself. Sit down and wait for news. Linghu Yun gestured for Duan Ling Tian to sit down at a stone table in his courtyard. Then he smiled and asked, Duan Lingen, I heard that you entered the Hidden Fog sect not too long ago? Moreover, you entered the Hidden Fog sect through Skywind City's Hidden Fog Academy? Yes. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Now that he was in the Linghu family, he wasn't as anxious as before. This was because he knew that he would soon see Linghu Chuin. At that time, he would be able to personally confirm. Was Linghu Chuin really his wife, Kerr? You entered the Hidden Fog sect not too long ago, so I presume you don't have any feelings for the Hidden Fog sect. Are you interested in joining our Linghu family? Our Linghu family can honor you as a consecrator and allow you to enjoy the treatment of a divine emperor-level consecrator? Linghu Yun's eyes flashed with anticipation as he bluntly asked. He had also heard of Duan Ling Tian's deeds. He knew that Duan Ling Tian was the first Divine Spirit Realm core disciple in the Hidden Fog sect in 10,000 years. And now he had stepped into the Divine King Realm, a Divine King powerhouse that was less than 3,000 years old. For such a character, as long as he didn't die prematurely, he was destined to rise up in the future. It wouldn't be difficult for him to become a Divine Emperor. In fact, even the Divine Emperor realm might not be the end of his life. Thus, he couldn't help but open his mouth and try to poach Lin Yun from the Hidden Fog sect. Facing Linghu Yun's attempt to win him over, Duan Ling Tian faintly smiled. Fourth young master, if the Linghu family was a Divine Emperor-level family, I would definitely agree, but unfortunately the Linghu family isn't. I'll tell you the truth. I won't be staying in the Hidden Fog sect for too long. My next goal is to enter the Tianlong clan. The Tianlong clan was the Divine Emperor-level sect behind the Linghu family, the Hidden Fog sect, and the Myriad Demon sect. Linghu Yun wasn't surprised to hear Duan Ling Tian's words. Even if you become a consecrator of our Linghu family, we won't force you to stay in the Linghu family. In fact, we can strongly recommend you to enter the Tianlong clan. It had to be said that Duan Ling Tian was moved by Linghu Yun's words. As for whether or not Linghu Yun's promise could be fulfilled, he didn't doubt it. This was because this was the most beloved son of the current head of the Linghu family. Even if this was his own decision, the current head of the Linghu family wouldn't deny him face. Moreover, with the achievements he had displayed so far, the Linghu family wouldn't miss out on the chance to befriend him. I entered the Hidden Fog sect because the dean of Skywind City's Hidden Fog Academy, who is also the vice sect master of the Hidden Fog sect, Murong Suifeng, personally recommended me. Dean Murong has shown me great kindness. I can't betray the Hidden Fog sect just because I want to enter the Linghu family. Duan Lingtian said. That's too much of a pity. Linghu Yun sighed. Of course, it's not impossible for me to enter the Linghu family. Duan Lingtian said. Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Linghu Yun's eyes brightened. He immediately said, Duan Lingtian, as long as you are willing to join the Linghu family, I won't ask for the favor you promised me before. As soon as Linghu Yun opened his mouth, he used the price of giving up the favor he owed Duan Lingtian to invite Duan Lingtian to join the Linghu family. That's a separate matter. Duan Lingtian shook his head and said, I will definitely return the favor I owe you. As for letting me join the Linghu family and have the Linghu family recommend me to enter the Tianlong clan, or even the Linghu family faction within the Tianlong clan, but the premise is that your Linghu family must send someone to follow me back to the Hidden Fog sect to protect me. A thought suddenly appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind. It was a fun thought. Perhaps he didn't need to follow Wu Feng's suggestion and become a secret disciple of one of the two highest protectors of the Hidden Fog sect. Then he wouldn't have to fear Elder Thunder's disciple Long Shao making things difficult for him or even Elder Thunder targeting him. Go to the Hidden Fog sect? Protect you? Linghu Yun didn't understand. What was going on? Weren't you a disciple of the Hidden Fog sect? You want to return to the Hidden Fog sect and you want our Linghu family to send someone to protect you? Are you sure you aren't teasing me? It's like this. Duan Lingtian didn't hide anything from Linghu Yun. He spoke of the conflict between him, Long Shao and Shangguan Xiongfeng. If I return to the Hidden Fog sect, Long Shao definitely won't let me off so easily. Although I don't fear him, Elder Thunder behind him isn't someone I can deal with. Moreover, because I don't need to take anyone in the Hidden Fog sect as a teacher, it will be difficult for me to find shelter. Of course, if I return to the Hidden Fog sect and display a strength greater than Long Zhao's, perhaps Elder Yun and Elder Wu will be willing to accept me as a secret disciple. I originally thought that after returning I would defeat Long Shao and become Elder Yun or Elder Wu's secret disciple to seek shelter. But now you've invited me to join the Linghu family. You've undoubtedly given me another choice. Duan Lingtian finished speaking in a single breath. You said, you can defeat Long Shao now? Linghu Yun sucked in a breath of cold air. Of Duan Lingtian's words, this was the point he was most concerned about. Who was Long Shao? He was one of the top 5 core disciples of the Hidden Fog sect. Although he was only a middle god king, he had the strength to defeat an ordinary upper god king. Even some of the inner elders of the Linghu family might not be Long Zhao's match. The inner elders of the Linghu family were equal to the inner elders of the Hidden Fog sect. They were both upper god kings. But now Duan Lingtian said he could defeat Long Shao. This Duan Lingtian was only a lower god king, right? If Duan Lingtian could defeat Long Shao, then he could also defeat the inner elders of the Linghu family. Moreover, he could defeat the majority of the inner elders. It had to be known that Duan Lingtian was only a lower god king. Moreover, he wasn't even 3,000 years old. Facing Linghu Yun's question, Duan Lingtian nodded. Although he hadn't fought Long Shao since he broke through to the lower god king realm, he had an approximate understanding of Long Zhao's strength and hidden cards. Even if he held back, he could still defeat him. I will have to speak with my father about this. Linghu Yun responded with a dignified expression. Then he sent a message to his father. After a moment, Linghu Yun looked at Duan Lingtian, his eyes flashing. Duan Lingtian, my father asked me to bring you over. He wants to speak with you personally. All right. In any case, he had to wait for Linghu Xian's reply. Duan Lingtian nodded in agreement. Led by Linghu Yun, Duan Lingtian arrived at a grand hall in the Linghu family's mansion. When they entered, there was already a person sitting at the head of the hall. As this person saw him and Linghu Yun enter, he immediately stood up. This was a tall middle-aged man. He wore a silver robe that accentuated his nobility. He had a scholarly and handsome face and gentle eyes. He gave off a feeling like a spring breeze. Duan Lingtian, this is my father, Linghu Renjia. After leading Duan Lingtian into the hall, Linghu Yun immediately introduced the silver-robed middle-aged man to Duan Lingtian. Then he introduced Duan Lingtian to his father, the current head of the Linghu family, Linghu Renjia. Duan Lingtian, I've long heard of your great name. Linghu Renjia smiled at Duan Lingtian. Then he gestured for Duan Lingtian to take a seat before sitting back down. His refined and courteous attitude made people feel very comfortable. Chapter 37-33. It had to be said that Linghu Renjie gave Duan Lingtian a very good first impression. For better or worse, this person was the current patriarch of the Linghu family. And the Linghu family was a divine emperor-level family. Their background and strength were no weaker than the Hidden Fog sect and 10,000 Demon sect. For Linghu Renjie to treat him like this was extremely rare. Of course, he also knew that a large part of the reason why Linghu Renjie was so polite to him was because he had told Linghu Renjie that he could enter the Tianlong clan through the Linghu family and become a member of the Linghu family. Just like how the Hidden Fog sect was divided into many factions, the Tianlong clan was also divided into many factions. People from various divine emperor-level influences that were vassal to the Tianlong clan had formed factions with people from their original influences. And the reason they did this was not only to better survive in the Tianlong clan, but also to strive for greater benefits. Where there were people, there would be struggles. And when there was a conflict of interest, the stronger side would often obtain the greatest benefits. Duan Lingtian joining the Tianlong clan's Linghu family faction was a good thing for the Linghu family's faction in the Tianjin clan and the Linghu family. This was because the value that Duan Lingtian displayed in the Linghu family far surpassed the value that he displayed in the Hidden Fog sect. If he returned to the Hidden Fog sect, then as long as he defeated Long Shao in broad daylight with his lower god king Cultivation, he would become the most important target of the Hidden Fog sect. In this sort of situation, unless one of the several strongest highest elders of the Hidden Fog sect wanted to deal with him, no one would be able to touch him. But he had formed a considerable grudge with Long Shao and Shengguan Xiongfeng. It could be said that he was on the opposite side of two of the Hidden Fog sect's four grand elders. If he returned to the Hidden Fog sect and wanted to live, there was only one path he could take. Just as Wu Feng suggested, he would become a disciple of one of the other two grand elders of the Hidden Fog sect. That way he would be protected. But now in the Linghu family he saw another path to take. He wouldn't betray the Hidden Fog sect. But if the Hidden Fog sect couldn't tolerate him, then he could just leave. Of course, the prerequisite was that the Linghu family could provide him with protection. Otherwise, if he returned to the Hidden Fog sect, he would either die or become a secret disciple of the Hidden Fog sect's Elder Cloud or Elder Wu and obtain their protection. Patriarch Linghu, I've long heard of your great name. Duan Lingtian replied politely after he sat down. Duan Lingtian. Linghu Renjie, who was sitting behind Duan Lingtian, smiled. I like to get straight to the point. He has already passed on what you and Yuner said to me. Then, as long as you can show strength that surpasses the core disciple of the Hidden Fog sect's Elder Thunder, our Linghu family will send a Grand Elder to accompany you back to the Hidden Fog sect to protect you. How about it? Linghu Renjie smiled and asked. Sure. Duan Lingtian nodded. He had already guessed this. He needed to show his value in order for the Linghu family to agree to his request. Father. Almost as soon as Duan Lingtian answered and entered the main hall, a figure had already walked slowly into the main hall from outside. It was a young man with a tall and sturdy figure. He wore green clothes, had a robust appearance, sword-like eyebrows and a sharp gaze. Third brother. When this youth walked in, Linghu Yun, who was sitting beside Duan Lingtian, had already brightened. At the same time he greeted this person. Fourth brother. At this time the youth also saw Linghu Yun. He faintly smiled at him. At the same time, Duan Lingtian also learned who this person was. He was the third son of the Linghu family's current head, Linghu Renjie. Linghu Jun was also one of Linghu Renjie's sons. He was the one with the highest talent and perception. Before he was 10,000 years old he was already a middle god king. Moreover, he was stronger than most of the Linghu family's inner elders. He was also the number one core disciple of the Linghu family. Among the core disciples of the Linghu family, there were also upper god kings. But they weren't his match. Most importantly, when Linghu Jun was still a lower god king, he had once fought with a lower god king of the Hidden Fog sect, Shengguan Xiongfeng. After 100 moves he defeated his opponent. Moreover, Linghu Jun was 2,000 years younger than Shengguan Xiongfeng. Now many people said that if Linghu Jun wanted to defeat Shengguan Xiongfeng, he wouldn't need 100 moves. Duan Lingtian, this is my useless third son Linghu Jun. At this time, Linghu Renjie looked at Duan Lingtian and smiled as he introduced Linghu Jun. Hearing Linghu Renjie's words, Duan Lingtian's lips twitched. He shook his head and said, Family head Linghu, I've already heard of the third young master's reputation. Of the current generation of core disciples of the Hidden Fog sect, no one dares to say they can defeat him. In fact, of the current generation of core disciples of the Hidden Fog sect, there might not be anyone who can fight him to a draw. Shangguan Xiongfeng could be ranked in the top 3 of the current generation of core disciples of the Hidden Fog sect. According to what Duan Lingtian knew, even the number 1 ranked person could only suppress Shangguan Xiongfeng. It wasn't enough to defeat him. Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Linghu Renjie's eyes narrowed. His lips curved up in a smile. After all, no matter how outstanding Linghu Jun was, he was still his son. As a father, he felt proud. Duan Lingtian, you understand my third son quite well. Linghu Renjie smiled and said, didn't you say you have the strength to defeat Long Xiao? If you can last 30 moves against my third son, that is enough to prove you have the strength to defeat Long Xiao. How about it? Linghu Renjie asked. Sure. Duan Lingtian nodded. He also wanted to experience the methods of this famous Linghu family's third young master. Enter my small world in my body. As Linghu Renjie spoke, it wasn't just Duan Lingtian and Linghu Jun. Even Linghu Yun followed him into Linghu Renjie's small world. Linghu Renjie planned to have Duan Lingtian and his third son fight in his small world. As a divine emperor powerhouse, Linghu Renjie's small world was so vast that one couldn't see the end of it. Now Duan Lingtian, Linghu Jun and Linghu Yun were standing high in the air above a desert. However, Linghu Yun was quickly pulled far away by an unintentional force. All he could do was watch Duan Lingtian and Linghu Jun from afar. At this time, Linghu Jun's figure had already flashed far away, facing off against Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, I've long heard of your great name. You are the first divine spirit realm core disciple of the Hidden Fog sect in 10,000 years. Many people say that you are the second Shui Haichuan of the Hidden Fog sect. Linghu Jun looked at Duan Lingtian, his expression solemn as he spoke. The second Shui Haichuan? Duan Lingtian shook his head. I only want to be myself. I don't want to be someone else's shadow. You are confident enough. A rare smile appeared on Linghu Jun's solemn face. I heard from my father that you have already broken through to the lower God King realm. Moreover, you are confident you can defeat the Hidden Fog sect's core disciple Long Xiao. That Long Xiao, although I haven't fought him before, I am confident I can defeat him within 10 moves. If you want to defeat him, you must have the strength to withstand at least 30 moves from me. As his voice fell, Linghu Jun's eyes shined with a strong confidence in his own strength. Then please enlighten me. Duan Lingtian faintly smiled. Linghu Jun's eyes narrowed as he heard this. Strong winds began to wreak havoc around his body. Bursts of blue astral winds twined around him, making him seem as if he were caught in a fierce and vast hurricane. And with the slightest movement of his body, waves of wind blades appeared, as if they could cut through all things. It was clear that Linghu Jun excelled in the wind laws. Even though Duan Lingtian had already become a lower god king and his strength was incomparable to the past, he still felt waves of pressure from Linghu Jun's body. This Linghu Jun, even if he hasn't comprehended the fusion of 4 profound meanings of the wind laws, he must have grasped the fusion of 3 profound meanings of the wind laws. Moreover, the strength of his bloodline shouldn't be underestimated. Otherwise, with his strength, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Shangguan Xiongfeng. Although Duan Lingtian hadn't fought Shangguan Xiongfeng before, he still had a certain understanding of Shangguan Xiongfeng's strength. For Linghu Jun to be able to defeat Shangguan Xiongfeng despite being 2,000 years younger than him, one could only imagine his talent, comprehension and strength. Of course, despite feeling the pressure, Duan Lingtian was not afraid at all. Around Duan Lingtian, waves of spatial storms raged as if they could shatter the void. Sharp spatial blades could be vaguely seen in the surroundings, swaying in the void. It seemed as if they could cut the void at any time. Accompanied by the sound of a saber ringing, 9 spatial rifts appeared in the void. The dimensional slash shot out from behind the spatial rifts, revealing a sharp aura that caused people to shudder in fear. Father, do you think Duan Lingtian can withstand 30 moves from third brother? Linghu Yun asked in a low voice. Although his father, Linghu Renjie, was not by his side, this was his father, Linghu Renjie's little world. Therefore, even if he spoke in a low voice, his father, Linghu Renjie, could still hear him clearly. If he's not boasting, then it should be fine. Linghu Renjie sent a voice transmission to Linghu Yun. Moreover, although this is the first time we've met, based on the confidence he's showing, I can't help but believe his words. He shouldn't be boasting. As soon as Linghu Renjie finished speaking, Linghu Jun had already made his move. As someone who specialized in the law of wind, Ling Hujun was best at speed and offense. He was not good at defense. As soon as he made his move, he attacked like a storm toward Duan Lingtian. Swoosh, swoosh. In the face of the overwhelming wind blades and the threads that seemed capable of cutting through anything, Duan Lingtian took his time to mobilize the energy of the law of space to form a layer of defense around him. As soon as his defense shattered, his figure swayed and disappeared from where he was standing. Chapter 37-34. Ling Hujun was not surprised when he saw Duan Lingtian teleporting away. He continued to fly up and occupied the high ground. Over there. After locking onto Duan Lingtian's location, Ling Hujun once again chased after Duan Lingtian like a gust of wind. His storm-like attacks took a turn and swept out again. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Duan Lingtian used the teleportation profundity many times. Every time he used the teleportation profundity, the distance between him and Ling Hujun continued to shrink. It was apparent it did not take long before Duan Lingtian's teleportation profundity could no longer catch up with Ling Hujun's speed. Duan Lingtian's divine power was only that of a lower divine king after all. His cultivation base was one level lower than Ling Hujun's. Even if the law of space that he displayed did not belong to the law of wind that Ling Hujun had comprehended, he was still at a disadvantage. 30 moves? Duan Lingtian secretly smiled when he thought about the test that Linghu Renjie had set for him. If he displayed the space sword principle and control Dao that he had just mastered, Ling Hujun might not be a match for him even if he used his bloodline power. However, Duan Lingtian knew that he still needed to keep a low profile. It would be fine if he could fight Ling Hujun to a draw. However, based on the strength that he had displayed so far, it would undoubtedly be difficult for him to fight Ling Hujun to a draw. Therefore, Duan Lingtian displayed the law of space again, fusing the 8 profound meanings of the law of space with the 3 profound meanings in various forms. The fusion of the 3 profound meanings of the law of space manifested his divine power. Coupled with the integration of the fledgling form of the sword principle, his power was a whole level stronger than before. Boom. Rumble. At that moment, Duan Lingtian no longer teleported to dodge. Instead, he faced Ling Hujun's attacks head-on. Compared to Ling Hujun's attacks, his current attacks were not weak either. Therefore, after a series of attacks, more than 10 moves had passed. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian and Ling Hujun were evenly matched. So strong. In the distance, Ling Hujun looked at everything in front of him with shock in his eyes. If third brother doesn't use his bloodline power, I'm afraid he'll only be able to fight to a draw with him at most. As if responding to Ling Hujun, Linghu Renjie's voice sounded out in Ling Hujun's ears. The strength he has displayed so far is likely no weaker than the Hidden Fog Sect's Elder Thunder's disciple, Long Xiao, who is using his full strength and also using his bloodline. However, if that's all he's capable of, your third brother will be able to take him down in 10 moves if he activates his bloodline power. From Linghu Renjie's tone, it was clear that he was very confident in his third son, Ling Hujun. It said that he came to the realms of gods from a Devata realm. He's not a native of the realms of gods. Therefore he doesn't have any bloodline power to rely on. Ling Hujun sighed. I'm afraid he won't be able to last more than 30 moves. Just as Linghu Renjie and Linghu Renjie had calmed down and were no longer conversing with each other, whoosh! In the field, Ling Hujun's figure flashed, and he had already retreated far away. Duan Lingtian. Ling Hujun's eyes were filled with respect when he looked at Duan Lingtian again. You're definitely the strongest primitive god king I've ever seen. You're able to fight me to a draw even with your cultivation base as a primitive god king. In fact, even in the Heavenly Dragon sect, the number of people who can fight with me to such an extent as a lower god king can be counted on one hand. Unfortunately, as someone who came to the realms of gods from a Devata realm, you don't have any bloodline power to rely on. Now I'll show you the power of my bloodline. As soon as Ling Hujun finished speaking, a layer of purple lightning appeared on the green energy around his body. It was as though the law of thunder was attached to his body. It was almost impossible for something like this to happen. However, it did happen. Generally speaking, different laws could not be used at the same time whether it was in the mundane realms, the Devata realms, or the realms of gods. Even the strongest powerhouses in heaven and earth could only use one law when they attacked. They could not use 2 laws at the same time. It was as though this was the law of heaven and earth that no one could break. No, he didn't use the law of lightning. It's the power of his bloodline. It's the power of lightning that fused into his law of wind. Duan Ling Tian was stunned for a moment before he regained his senses. He was certain the green wind around Ling Hujun was surrounded by the lightning force transformed from his bloodline energy. However, when Ling Hujun attacked again, Duan Ling Tian witnessed how terrifying his bloodline power was. When Duan Ling Tian's bloodline energy merged with the law of wind, it gave birth to lightning. Although the force of wind and thunder was not comparable to the fusion of the four profundities from the law of wind, it was not inferior to Duan Ling Tian's profundity. Ling Hujun's bloodline power had raised his law of wind to a whole new level. Earlier, Duan Ling Tian was able to fight Ling Hujun, who had a higher cultivation base than him, to a draw with his advantage of the law of wind and the rudimentary sword Dao. However, now that Ling Hujun had unleashed his bloodline power, his law of wind was no weaker than the law of space. Although he had the rudimentary sword Dao, it was still difficult for him to overcome the gap in their cultivation bases. The difference between a primitive God King and a medium God King was too great. It's time to show my trump cards. What should I show? Duan Lingtian's expression turned slightly solemn when Ling Hujun attacked again with his bloodline power. He still had many trump cards. However, at the very least he could not use his divine weapon. After all, his opponent did not use any divine weapon. If his opponent did use a divine weapon, he would have to use a high-grade divine weapon to suppress his opponent. Moreover, even if he took out an ordinary high-grade divine artifact and the other party didn't have one, Linghu Renjie, the Linghu family patriarch, might lend his own high-grade divine artifact to Ling Hujun. With the Linghu family's wealth, they could afford to take out a few ordinary high-grade divine weapons. As for the Seven Orifices exquisite sword, he could not use it. If it was exposed, the head of the Linghu family would be the first to kill him and take the Seven Orifices exquisite sword away. The Pine Willow Divine Tree? Duan Ling Tian thought of the divine image projection that he had mastered in the past. His eyes flashed, but he did not activate the divine image projection of the Pine Willow Divine Tree. If he wanted the divine image projection of the Pine Willow Divine Tree to help him, he would have to open his little world and let the divine tree of life help him. However, if he opened his little world, the head of the Linghu family, Linghu Renjie, might discover the secrets in his body. The 5 high-level 5 divine element spirits were still recovering their vitality in the small world inside his body. Basic mastery of the sword Dao, embryonic form of the Dao of control, and the fusion of the 4 profundities from the law of space. Which one should I show? Currently, Duan Ling Tian was only left with these 3 options. Finally, under the pressure of Ling Hujun's attack, he raised his hand and formed a sharp sword ray with his spatial energy. He chose to use the sword Dao that he had just mastered. It should be noted that this was the first time he had shown his sword Dao in front of others since he came to the mystic gangland in the realm of gods. In the past, he had only shown the embryonic form of the sword Dao. However, there was no need to hide it now. The sword ray flashed. Swoosh. Duan Ling Tian swung his sword, and thousands of sword rays shot out in all directions. They almost filled Linghu Renjie's little world. It was as though his sword energy could travel 30,000 miles, and his sword ray could freeze 19 provinces. After Duan Ling Tian swung his sword, not only did Ling Hujun lose his advantage, but he even fell into a disadvantageous position. Swoosh, swoosh. The sword ray flashed and a strand of Ling Hujun's hair was sliced off. A faint sword scar appeared on his handsome face. A trickle of blood seeped out, but it did not flow down. The depth of the wound was just right. I've lost. Ling Hujun sighed. His eyes were filled with shock when he looked at Duan Ling Tian again. He thought he would be able to defeat Duan Ling Tian in 10 moves after activating his bloodline power. He did not expect Duan Ling Tian to defeat him in just 2 moves. Duan Lingtian's first sword had crushed his attack. The second sword had cut off his hair and left a faint sword scar on his face. If Duan Ling Tian had wanted to kill him, the second sword would have killed him. Sword Dao. You've mastered the sword Dao. Just as Ling Hujun finished speaking and Ling Huyun was stunned, Linghu Renjie's voice suddenly sounded from all directions. It reverberated in his small world, and his tone was filled with shock and astonishment. Mastering the sword Dao and the embryonic form of the sword Dao were 2 completely different concepts. The latter was just a seed. The former was the manifestation of a germinated seed, and its power was incomparable. If Duan Ling Tian had to rely on the advantage of the law of space and the embryonic form of the sword Dao to catch up with the difference in divine power between a lower and lower celestial king and a middle celestial king, then, Duan Ling Tian could surpass the difference between a lower celestial king and a middle celestial king with the sword Dao alone. The sword Dao was the weapon Dao of the four Dao of heaven and earth. It was extremely mysterious. Even in the realms of gods, not everyone could master it. Some god emperors and even ultimate gods did not master any of the four Dao of heaven and earth. However, Duan Ling Tian, a lower celestial king who was not even 3,000 years old, had mastered the sword Dao. The embryonic form of the sword Dao could be attributed to luck. However, the sword Dao was completely dependent on talent and comprehension. Sword Dao. Ling Hujun had already guessed it earlier. Now that he heard his father's words, he confirmed it immediately. After confirming it, the shock in his eyes became even more intense. As for Ling Huyun, he was even more shocked. Duan Ling Tian, other than the three of us, is there anyone else who knows that you've mastered the sword Dao? Ling Hu Renjia's human figure solidified in his little world. He looked at Duan Ling Tian and asked urgently. No. Duan Ling Tian shook his head. I've only recently mastered the sword Dao. This is the first time I've shown it. Ling Hu Renjia's eyes lit up when he heard this. Good. Very good. Chapter 37-35. Duan Ling Tian. Ling Hu Renjia restrained the joy on his face. He looked at Duan Ling Tian once more and said with a solemn expression, From today onwards, unless necessary, try not to use your sword Dao, otherwise I fear that someone will kill you out of jealousy and kill you in the cradle. Throughout the entire Tonglung province, I have never heard of anyone who has grasped any of the four Daos of heaven and earth. At most, there are some people who have grasped a seed of one of the four Daos of heaven and earth. Of course, there is no lack of people who have grasped it but have hidden it away. But there are very few people who have grasped it. Ling Hu Renjia's words could be considered as protecting Duan Ling Tian. As for Duan Ling Tian, he was stunned as he heard Ling Hu Renjia's words. He naturally knew that a trump card like the sword Dao couldn't be easily exposed. Otherwise, he wouldn't have only revealed the elementary form of the sword Dao in the hidden fog sect. However, he was still surprised that Ling Hu Renjia told him to hide it. This was because Ling Hu Renjia was protecting him. It had to be said that at this moment, Duan Ling Tian was moved. Duan Ling Tian. Ling Hu Renjia looked at Duan Ling Tian. His originally solemn face revealed a smile. When you return to the hidden fog sect, let me know. I will have my Ling Hu family's high elders Hung and Huan accompany you to the hidden fog sect. With them here, even if the hidden fog sect's high elders Feng, Lei, Yun, Wu, they won't be able to stop you. As Ling Hu Renjia spoke, his face was filled with confidence. Heng and Huan. Two of the Ling Hu family's three high elders were also the strongest pillars of the Ling Hu family. These two high elders were twin brothers. One was called Ling Hu Hung and the other was called Ling Hu Huan. At first glance their names were the same. Of the two of them, neither one of them was weaker than any of the hidden fog sect's four highest elders. If the two of them joined forces, then even if the three people from the hidden fog sect joined forces, they still wouldn't be able to defeat him. If the two of them joined forces, then as long as they wanted to escape, not even the hidden fog sect's wind, thunder, cloud, mist sect's four great elders would be able to stop them. When Duan Ling Tian heard Ling Hu Yun's voice, he became familiar with the Ling Hu family's elders Hang and Huan. Thank you, Patriarch Ling Hu. Duan Ling Tian bowed and thanked Ling Hu Renjia. At the same time he solemnly said, This time if the hidden fog sect cannot tolerate me, then I will return to the Ling Hu family with Elder Heng and Elder Heng. At that time, as long as the Ling Hu family doesn't betray me, then I, Duan Ling Tian, will not betray the Ling Hu family. Duan Ling Tian was extremely clear in his heart that the reason Ling Hu Renjia took such good care of him was entirely because of his potential. Ling Hu Renjia knew that the Ling Hu family couldn't tolerate him. But if he was recommended by the Ling Hu family to enter the Tianlong clan and become a member of the Ling Hu family faction, then this would undoubtedly have a profound impact on the Ling Hu family. As the current patriarch of the Ling Hu family, Ling Hu Renjia was a smart person. He had his own considerations. With your words, my efforts have not been in vain. Ling Hu Renjia smiled. Fourth young master, is there any news from Elder Xian? Suddenly Duan Ling Tian thought of something. He looked at Ling Hu Yun and asked. Duan Ling Tian's question naturally attracted the attention of Ling Hu Renjia and Ling Hu Jun. Both of them looked at Ling Hu Yun in unison. Duan Ling Tian's question startled Ling Hu Yun. Then he smiled bitterly and said, Duan Ling Tian, when you were fighting with my third brother, I received a message from Grandpa Xian. Although they were in another person's little world, as long as the other person did not close off the little world, messages could still enter and leave freely. The only way to do so was to separate the lesser world from the rest of the world and transform it into a realm of gods. Under such circumstances, messages from the outside would not be able to enter, and messages from the inside would not be able to leave. Then shall we go over now? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up when he heard Ling Hu Yun's words. At the same time, there was a hint of urgency in his eyes. I'm afraid, there's no need to go over. Ling Hu Yun smiled bitterly and said, Grandpa Xin's message is bad news. Duan Lingtian was startled. Just now, Grandpa Xin sent a message saying that he found Elder Qing Zhe. At the same time, he learned from Elder Qing Zhe that my aunt left with Cousin Chuyin 2 days ago. I just sent a message to my aunt, but I didn't get a reply. She might not be in the Profound Handle land anymore. As for Cousin Chuyin's soul bead, I don't have it here. Ling Hu Yun said. When they heard Ling Hu Yun's words, Ling Hu Renjia and Ling Hu Jun looked at Duan Lingtian with strange gazes. At this moment, they even suspected that Duan Lingtian's willingness to join their Ling Hu family had something to do with their niece and cousin. They had also heard about how Duan Lingtian chased after Ling Hu Chuyin's beast carriage in Monarch Descent City. At the same time, they sighed at Ling Hu Chuyin's charm. Even Duan Lingtian, the first divine spirit realm core disciple of the Hidden Fog sect in 10,000 years, was infatuated with her. Duan Lingtian, I advise you to give up on this idea. Ling Hu Jun sighed and said, Aunt once threatened that she wouldn't let Cousin Chuyin marry. Even if someone asked my father to be a matchmaker, it was useless. Even if the elders stepped forward, it was useless. She was determined. That's right. Ling Hu Renjia also nodded and said, Duan Lingtian, our Ling Hu family has many beauties. Although they aren't as good as my niece, there are still a few who aren't much worse. I ask myself, my 7th daughter isn't much worse than my niece in terms of looks. If you are interested, I can betroth her to you. Of course, you can meet first. When Ling Hu Renjia looked at Duan Lingtian again, it was no longer as if he was looking at a genius. Instead, it was as if he was looking at his Ling Hu family's son-in-law. Before Duan Lingtian could regain his senses, Ling Hu Yun had already started to explain for Duan Lingtian. Father, third brother, you've misunderstood Duan Lingtian. Following that, he repeated everything that Duan Lingtian had said to him. When the two of them heard this, they realized that they had misunderstood. Ling Hu family head, can you contact your sister? Duan Lingtian looked at Ling Hu Renjia, his eyes filled with anticipation. He thought that if Ling Hu Renjia could contact his sister, he could definitely ask him to bring Ling Hu Chuyin back. Let me see. When Ling Hu Renjia heard this, he immediately contacted his second sister through her soul pearl. However, after a while, it was as if a stone had sunk into the sea. It should be as Yuner guessed. My second sister should have brought my niece out of the Shengang land. Ling Hu Renjia shook his head and said. When Duan Lingtian heard this, he naturally could not help but feel disappointed. However, at the same time he seemed to have thought of something. He looked at Ling Hu Renjia and asked, Ling Hu family head, can you confirm whether Ling Hu Chuyin is your second sister's biological daughter? In his opinion, even if Ling Hu Yun, the fourth young master of the Ling Hu family, did not know this, it did not mean that the Ling Hu family head did not know this. No matter what, Ling Hu Chuyin was brought back by his second sister personally. When Ling Hu Renjia heard this, he could not help but feel a little embarrassed. To be honest, I'm not too sure about this either. My second sister has been very wild since she was young. She couldn't stay at home. Later on, she even left the Shengang land and went to the world of divine remains for tens of thousands of years. She only returned recently. When she returned, she brought back my niece. I asked her if that was her biological daughter, but she did not answer me directly. Every time I asked, she would be distracted. I felt that it was inconvenient for her to say, so after asking a few times, I did not ask again. Ling Hu Renjia said. Then, have you been in contact with Ling Hu Chuyin? Can you confirm if she has amnesia? Duan Lingtian asked again. He had asked Ling Hu Renjia this question before, but Duan Lingtian still wanted to confirm it with him. Originally, I did not have this thought. However, Yuner told me about you just now, saying that my niece might be your wife, so I carefully recalled the details of my interactions with my niece. Ling Hu Renjia thought for a moment and said, speaking of which, it's strange. Not only does my niece not look like her mother, but she is also not as lively as her mother when she was young. She does not like to talk much and she is quiet and gentle. Sometimes she even feels that her reaction is half a beat slower. At that time I thought that she was thinking about something, but now that I think about it, perhaps her head has really suffered some kind of blow that caused her reaction to be slow. And amnesia usually means that the head has suffered some kind of blow. Linghu Renjie said. When Duan Lingtian heard this, his breathing suddenly became hurried. Then he said to Linghu Renjie anxiously, Family head Linghu, after hearing what you said, I feel that Linghu Chuin might be my long-lost wife. Please contact your sister whether you have anything to do. I want to see Linghu Chuin and personally confirm her identity. If she is really my wife, I, Duan Lingtian, will definitely repay you generously. Duan Lingtian said with a serious face. The urgency in his tone could be clearly felt by anyone who heard what he said now. Don't worry, I will definitely do my best to help you. Linghu Renjie nodded. At this moment, Duan Lingtian looked at Duan Lingtian with a bitter smile. Duan Lingdan, it seems that I am not fated to receive that favor from you. However, there is no favor. I wonder if it is convenient for you to record the follow-up of that long story, East Royal Emperor, in a memory jade slip for me? As Linghu Yun finished speaking, he looked at Duan Lingtian eagerly. No problem. Duan Lingtian agreed. To him, this was merely a matter of lifting his hand. With his current processing speed, it would not take long for him to record the entire East Royal Emperor in a memory jade slip and give it to Linghu Yun. Thank you. Linghu Yun repeatedly expressed his thanks. I will give you the jade slip in 2 days. After Duan Lingtian spoke to Linghu Yun, he looked at Linghu Renjie. Linghu family head, I am preparing to leave in 3 days and return to the Hidden Fog sect. I hope you can ask Elder Heng and Elder Huan to prepare. Duan Lingtian had already made his decision. After returning to the Hidden Fog sect, if the Hidden Fog sect did not accept him, he would switch to the Linghu family. Even if he had to bear the curses of the Hidden Fog sect members who did not know, he would not hesitate. The Linghu family gave him enough respect and importance. Moreover, there was something he urgently wanted to confirm in the Linghu family. If he was in the Linghu family, then once Linghu Chuin returned, he would be able to contact her immediately and confirm whether or not she was his wife. Now all the clues pointed to this. Linghu Chuin was very likely his wife Kerr. But as long as he did not thoroughly confirm, he would not be 100% sure. Chapter 37-36. For 2 days, Duan Lingtian said that he would stay behind to record all the content of the story of the East Royal Emperor in the memory jade slip and hand it over to Linghu Yun. In fact, he was waiting more for good news from Linghu Renjie. He hoped that Linghu Chuin could return to the Linghu family again. However, 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. When the memory jade slip was handed over to Duan Lingtian knew that he was still obsessed with it after all. Duan Lingdan, you don't have to be anxious. When Linghu Yun received the memory jade slip from Duan Lingtian, his eyes lit up. He also saw the absent-minded look on Duan Lingtian's face. In the Linghu family, he was known for his intelligence. It wasn't difficult for him to guess what Duan Lingtian was thinking. You have to think about it this way. Although you can't come into contact with cousin Chuin yet, taking 10,000 steps back, if she's really your wife, it means that she's safe now, Linghu Yun comforted him. She's by my aunt's side. With my aunt's many years of experience and my aunt's strength, it's almost impossible for her to encounter any danger. At this point, Linghu Yun paused for a moment. When he spoke again, there was a burning heat in his eyes. I just learned about it from Grandpa Shen yesterday. It turns out that when my aunt came back this time, she fought with Grand Elders Hang and Huan. When the 2 Grand Elders joined forces, even the 4 Grand Elders of the Hidden Fog sect would find it difficult to defeat them. However, they were defeated by my aunt. It seems that my aunt has made great progress in those years after she left. Now she can be regarded as the strongest person in our Linghu family, Linghu Yun said. Linghu Yun said. When Linghu Yun's comforting words fell into Duan Lingtian's ears, it made Duan Lingtian's mood much better. Yes. If Linghu Chuin was really Kerr, it also meant that Kerr was safe now. He didn't need to think too much about whether Kerr was safe in the world of divine remains. In addition, when Linghu Yun mentioned the strength of his aunt, the former second miss of the Linghu family, Duan Lingtian immediately felt more at ease. Thank you for your comfort, 4th young master. I'm fine. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled. Duan Lingtian, I'll wait for you to come to our Linghu family. I still want to hear you tell stories other than the Great Eastern Imperial Emperor. After some time, I'll probably finish reading this story through the memory jade slip you gave me. When Linghu Yun saw that Duan Lingtian had come back to his senses, he knew that his words of comfort had worked. He let out a sigh of relief and said with a smile, All right. Duan Lingtian agreed immediately. Then he bade farewell to Linghu Yun and returned to his room. These 2 days he temporarily stayed in Linghu Yun's residence. The next day, Duan Lingtian and Elder Heng Huan are already waiting for you outside the mansion. When Linghu Yun's voice came from outside the room, Duan Lingtian knew that it was time for him to leave and return to the Hidden Fog sect. When he returned to the Hidden Fog sect, he wasn't confident. But now he had an idea. When he returned to the Hidden Fog sect, he could have followed Wu Feng's suggestion and become a disciple of one of the Hidden Fog sect's Elder Yun or Elder Wu, becoming their in-name disciple. However, even if Elder Yun and Elder Wu could protect him, Elder Feng and Elder Lei would at most not do anything to him on the surface. They would do something to him behind his back. At that time, even if Elder Yun and Elder Wu suspected them, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Even if they found evidence, they wouldn't really risk their lives for him against Elder Feng and Elder Lei. No matter what, they were still people of the same sect. Duan Lingtian was important to the Hidden Fog sect, but once he died he would have no value. Elder Yun and Elder Wu absolutely wouldn't make things difficult for Elder Feng and Elder Lei, who were also pillars of the Hidden Fog sect, for a dead person. Even if they wanted to make things difficult for him, others would stop them. In the end, this matter would be left unsettled. The world was just that cruel. It was because he thought of this that he didn't immediately return to the Hidden Fog sect after breaking through to the lower God King realm. Because he hesitated. Of course, if there was no other way he would still choose to return to the Hidden Fog sect and take the risk. But now it seemed that he didn't need to take the risk. You are Duan Lingtian? Duan Lingtian was personally led out of the Linghu family's mansion by the patriarch of the Linghu family, Linghu Renjia. When Linghu Renjia called for him, Linghu Renjia was already waiting outside the door. Now, in the skies above the Linghu family mansion, the one greeting Duan Lingtian was a fat old man. The old man wore a bright red robe that set off his round body. No matter how one looked at it, it was a festive sight. The old man stared at him. Because there was too much fat on his face, only 2 thin slits could be seen. Yes, Senior. Duan Lingtian quickly responded. At the same time, he subconsciously glanced at the other old man beside the fat old man. This old man was about the same height as the fat old man, but he was incomparably thin, as if he were just skin and bones. However, one could vaguely see that the thin old man and the fat old man's facial features, as well as some details of their facial features, were exactly the same. From this, one could see that they were similar. However, it would be extremely difficult to tell that they were twins based on this alone. Duan Lingtian. At the same time, Linghu Renjia, the patriarch of the Linghu family, had already introduced the 2 old men to Duan Lingtian. First, the fat old man said, "This is Elder Huan." Then the thin old man said, "This is Elder Heng, who is also Elder Huan's twin brother." Following Linghu Renjia's introduction, the thin old man also nodded at Duan Lingtian. Compared to the fat old man's kind words, the thin old man was clearly more reserved. "Granduncles, this is..." Just as Linghu Renjia was about to introduce Duan Lingtian, Elder Huan had already raised a fat hand and stopped Linghu Renjia. "Young hero, you don't have to introduce him. You've already introduced him to us 3 days ago. Go ahead and go back. With us here, we will absolutely not let anyone harm a single hair on Duan Lingtian." Compared to the extremely thin Elder Heng, who was reserved in speech and manner, the fat Elder Huan appeared to be much more cheerful and talkative. "Then I'll have to trouble the 2 granduncles." In terms of seniority, regardless of whether it was Linghu Renjia or Linghu Huan, they were several generations older than him. Therefore, he would usually address the 2 of them as granduncles. The 2 of them were also the pillars of the Linghu family. Their status was lofty, even higher than Linghu Renjia, the patriarch of the Linghu family. "Let's go." Under Linghu Renjia's gaze, Linghu Huan once again waved his fat hand. Immediately, a huge spaceship appeared before Duan Lingtian's eyes. Before Duan Lingtian could react, Linghu Huan's fat body had already flashed to Duan Lingtian's side. He placed his fat hand on Duan Lingtian's shoulder and brought him into the spaceship in the blink of an eye. "Little guy, why are you in a daze? It's time to go." As for Linghu Heng, he moved his thin body in a timely manner. His movements were like the wind as he entered the spaceship in the blink of an eye. Whoosh. Then, by the time Duan Lingtian regained his senses, the spaceship had already flown out. Although there were images of array formations all around, they were all gray and hazy. It was impossible to see clearly. The speed was so fast that it surpassed the range of Duan Lingtian's naked eye. "Elder Huan, this is a divine emperor-level spaceship?" Duan Lingtian subconsciously looked at the fat old man who had just walked away. He was the Linghu family's Elder Huan and asked curiously, How is it? Can't you see the situation outside clearly? Linghu Huan grinned. His originally small eyes were instantly squeezed out by the fat on his face. Right now this spaceship is hurrying at the speed of a middle god king. It will take at most half a day to send you back to the Hidden Fog sect. Half a day? Duan Lingtian was startled. It had to be known that the distance from the Linghu family to the Hidden Fog sect was far greater than the distance from the Hidden Fog sect to the divine abode and divine vault left behind by God Emperor Qinwu. Although it wasn't twice as far, it was close. A middle god king's speed was actually this fast? At the same time, Duan Lingtian thought about how many divine stones the spaceship consumed to maintain this speed. He couldn't help but feel his heart tremble. In just half a day, this spaceship had consumed at least several thousand taels of divine stones. Half a day, several thousand divine stones. Even if Duan Lingtian had several 100,000 divine stones in his hands, he was still frightened by such a large expenditure. Even if all the divine stones in his hands were added together, it would only be enough for this divine emperor-level spaceship to maintain this speed for several dozen days. It would be hard to even fly for 100 days. While he was shocked, Duan Lingtian also began to size up everything in front of him. The divine emperor-level spaceship wasn't much more luxurious than the god king-level spaceship that the myriad demon sect disciple Duan Lingtian had taken out before. It was clear that the grade of a spaceship didn't care about how luxurious the interior was. What mattered was speed. In the simple cabin there were only some fixed tables and chairs. Unless the spaceship was damaged, these tables and chairs wouldn't move in the slightest. Now the unsmiling elder Linghu Hung was sitting cross-legged on the floor of the spaceship. His eyes were closed, and it was unknown whether he was closing his eyes to rest or cultivating. As for Linghu Hung, he was sizing up the scenery outside with interest. Of course, with Duan Lingtian's current cultivation, he couldn't clearly see the scenery outside. This was because the naked eye couldn't keep up. Elder Huan. After a while, Duan Lingtian thought of a problem. When I return to the Hidden Fog sect, how do you and Elder Huan plan to follow me in? Linghu Heng heard this and said matter-of-factly, wouldn't it be fine to hide in your small world? Duan Lingtian's heart trembled when he heard this. But on the surface he said as if nothing had happened, that's one way, but if I don't have time to let the two of you out and perish, wouldn't the two of you have come here in vain? Brat, your reaction speed can't be that slow, right? Linghu Hung was a bit speechless. If you aren't confident in yourself, the two of us can go in by ourselves. And what Duan Lingtian was waiting for was these words from Linghu Hung. There were too many secrets in his small world. He naturally couldn't allow Linghu Heng and Linghu Heng to enter. Chapter 37:37. In Duan Lingtian's opinion, the little world in his body was his absolute secret. Whether it was the god of life tree or the 5 divine elements, once the secrets were exposed, all that awaited him was a tragic death. Besides the strongest powerhouses, there was likely no one who could resist such a temptation. Perhaps even the strongest powerhouses might be tempted. Although the strongest powerhouses couldn't use these things, that didn't mean their loved ones couldn't use them. At the very least, Duan Lingtian put himself in their shoes and thought, if he was the strongest powerhouse and had the chance to obtain these things, even if he couldn't use them, he would definitely give them to his wife, children, and parents. Hearing Linghu Huan say that they could enter by themselves, Duan Lingtian relaxed. Then, for the rest of the journey, Duan Lingtian walked to the side and sat down cross-legged, closing his eyes to rest. Half a day passed in the blink of an eye. We're here. As Linghu Huan's voice sounded out, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes. He looked out of the flying ship and discovered that they had arrived in the skies above the Hidden Fog sect. At this time, Linghu Hung also opened his eyes and stood up. A pair of originally turbid eyes in an instant shot out 2 rays of light. Little fellow. Linghu Huan looked at Duan Lingtian. His originally frivolous and fat face now appeared solemn. We will follow behind you and enter the Hidden Fog sect. If no one opens the path for the Hidden Fog sect's great protective array, we will be discovered if we rashly enter. With you leading the way, we can conceal ourselves and follow. In this case, unless there is a divine sovereign nearby, it will be impossible to discover our whereabouts. Duan Lingtian nodded at Linghu Huan's words. In truth, he had been wondering how Old Heng and Old Man Hung would enter the Hidden Fog sect. After all, the Hidden Fog sect had an array formation that had been passed down for many years. Even with Old Man Heng and Old Man Heng's strength, they would likely be discovered if they rashly entered. Now, after hearing Linghu Huan's words, he suddenly realized that he had to open the path in front. As for how Ling Hu Huan and the other man followed him in, it wasn't difficult for him to guess. They must have followed him in like a shadow when he used his identity token to open the way. After Ling Hu Huan put away the spaceship, Duan Ling Tian discovered that regardless of whether it was Ling Hu Huan or Ling Hu Heng, their bodies had become illusory in an instant. It was as if they had turned into ripples in the void. Water laws. In that instant, Duan Ling Tian also saw that the two of them were using the water principles to hide their bodies. Fortunately, he was close to them. If he was any further away, it would be difficult for him to see them. Go. Ling Hu Huan's voice sounded. Don't look back lest someone finds out. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Then he headed towards the hidden fog sect station. With the core disciple status token, he passed through the layers of array formations outside the hidden fog sect station without encountering any hindrance. After returning to the hidden fog sect, Duan Ling Tian directly returned to his residence in the core disciple training area. From beginning to end, he had no intention of hiding anything. It's Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian is back? And Duan Ling Tian's return attracted the attention of many people. This was because many people hadn't heard any news about Duan Ling Tian recently. Many people said that he wasn't in the hidden fog sect. Moreover, many people knew that core disciple Long Xiao was looking for Duan Ling Tian. After all, Long Xiao had been looking for Duan Ling Tian in King's Descent City with great fanfare. This was no longer a secret in the hidden fog sect. As for why Long Xiao was looking for Duan Ling Tian, few people knew. But with Long Xiao's attitude at the time, it couldn't have been anything good. I think that Long Xiao will soon come knocking on my door. After Duan Ling Tian returned to his residence, his lips curved up in a sneer. Before returning, he had received a message from Wu Feng saying that Long Xiao had stayed in King's Descent City for a period of time after learning that he had gone there. Moreover, Long Xiao had been looking for him with great fanfare. It was just as Duan Ling Tian had thought. He had just returned when Long Xiao, who had received the news, came knocking on his door to look for him. Duan Ling Tian. Long Xiao hadn't arrived yet, but his angry voice was like a thunderclap that resounded through the core disciple training area. It was deafening. Instantly, numerous figures soared up into the sky. They were precisely core disciples like Duan Ling Tian. This voice, is it senior apprentice brother Long Xiao? Long Xiao. I heard that Long Xiao was looking for Duan Ling Tian in King's Descent City with great fanfare. Now that he's here, does that mean that Duan Ling Tian has returned? I just asked someone. Duan Ling Tian seems to have returned. When the group of core disciples came out, Long Xiao's figure had already appeared. Long Xiao's face was gloomy and his eyes were fierce. He stared at one of the core disciples' quarters and his divine power was fluctuating as if it could explode at any time. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Duan Ling Tian rose into the air and looked at Long Xiao from afar. He smiled faintly and said, "Senior apprentice brother Long Xiao, are you looking for me?" Currently, Duan Ling Tian seemed as though nothing had happened, and he had a carefree expression. Duan Ling Tian, after hiding outside for so long, you're finally willing to come back? Long Xiao's heart skipped a beat when he saw how calm Duan Ling Tian was. He frowned slightly and extended his divine consciousness to envelop Duan Ling Tian. I was wondering why you suddenly came back. So you've become a low-level divine king and have become more capable. After probing Duan Ling Tian's current cultivation, Long Xiao sneered. As Long Xiao spoke, the crowd burst into an uproar. Duan Ling Tian, he broke through? He isn't even 3,000 years old yet, right? To be more precise, he isn't even 2,800 years old yet. Heavens! He hasn't even reached 2,000 years of age and yet he has comprehended the space laws to such a degree. He even has the strength to become a core disciple of our hidden fog sect with a divine spirit cultivation. Now that he has broken through to the lower God King realm, even an ordinary middle God King might not be his match. You also said that he is an ordinary medium-level divine king. Someone like senior apprentice brother Long Xiao who can defeat ordinary high-level divine kings isn't a match for him. As the core disciples were discussing, Duan Ling Tian looked at Long Xiao in confusion. Senior apprentice brother Long Xiao, what do you mean? Duan Ling Tian, what are you playing at? Long Xiao smirked. Don't tell me you've forgotten what you promised me a few months ago? What? Duan Ling Tian curiously asked, a confused look on his face. It looks like you really didn't take my words to heart? Long Xiao's complexion darkened. His eyes flashed with an intimidating cold light and his tone was as cold as ice. Senior apprentice brother Long Xiao, I really don't know what I promised you. How about you repeat yourself? Duan Ling Tian asked politely with a smile on his face. Good, very good. Long Xiao was so angry that he laughed. It looks like after Duan Ling Tian broke through to the lower Divine King realm, you are so confident in yourself that you don't even place me in your eyes. Duan Ling Tian calmly looked at Long Xiao, his expression carefree. He was waiting for Long Xiao to attack. Once Long Xiao attacked, he would have enough reason to defend himself. At that time, even if he killed Long Xiao, he would still be killing in self-defense. According to the rules of the Hidden Fog sect, he was innocent. However, what Duan Ling Tian didn't expect was that before Long Xiao attacked, a figure rapidly approached from afar. This figure wasn't unfamiliar to him. It's Senior Apprentice Brother Shangguan Xiongfeng. Senior Apprentice Brother Shangguan Xiongfeng is here. The person who came was Shangguan Xiongfeng. As soon as he appeared, the eyes of the surrounding core disciples lit up with excitement. Shangguan Xiongfeng was one of the top 3 core disciples in the Hidden Fog sect. Although he was only a middle divine king, his true strength was stronger than most of the inner sect elders. Even if Shangguan Xiongfeng's identity as Elder Feng's disciple was ignored, he was still the target of many core disciples. Many core disciples idolized him and revered him greatly. Long Xiao, you aren't afraid of him, are you? You actually called me over. Shangguan Xiongfeng smiled at the core disciples and then walked to Long Xiao's side. He sent a message to Long Xiao. This Duan Ling Tian has broken through to the lower Divine King realm. Long Xiao said in a deep voice, although I don't think he is my match, since he dares to come back so brazenly, he must have a certain amount of confidence in himself. So, I asked you to help me out just in case. For Long Xiao to become the disciple of the Hidden Fog sect's Elder Lay and have his current achievements, he naturally wasn't a reckless person. In his opinion, asking Shangguan Xiongfeng to help him out was just a favor. If he were to fail miserably, that would truly be a loss of face. You are quite careful. Shangguan Xiongfeng looked deeply at Long Xiao and then turned to Duan Ling Tian. He lightly said, Junior Apprentice Brother Duan, I didn't think we would meet again so soon. Shangguan Xiongfeng, did you come here to return the 2 revival good fortune pills that you stole from me in the past? Duan Ling Tian calmly looked at Shangguan Xiongfeng, his tone incomparably indifferent. What do you mean I stole your revival good fortune pills? Shangguan Xiongfeng smiled. Junior Apprentice Brother Duan, didn't I use a medium-grade divine artifact to exchange for those 2 revival good fortune pills? How come you are saying that I stole your revival good fortune pills? You dare to do it but you don't dare to admit it. As Elder Feng's disciple, aren't you afraid of losing face for him? Seeing Shangguan Xiongfeng's face, Duan Ling Tian could no longer suppress the anger in his heart. He sneered. As Duan Ling Tian spoke, the smile on Shangguan Xiongfeng's face instantly froze. Duan Ling Tian, if you dare to slander me again, don't blame me for being impolite. Duan Ling Tian smiled. Slander? How about we swear a heart demon blood oath in front of everyone and see just who is slandering who? I can swear a heart demon blood oath to guarantee that everything I say is true. I'm just afraid you won't dare. Duan Ling Tian's words caused Shangguan Xiongfeng's complexion to change. Chapter 37-38. As for the surrounding core disciples who didn't believe Duan Ling Tian's words, when they heard that Duan Ling Tian dared to make a heart demon blood oath, their hearts began to waver. Now, when they saw Shangguan Xiongfeng's complexion change, they immediately understood what was going on. It seemed that Duan Ling Tian was telling the truth. However, as they thought of how Duan Ling Tian would confront Shangguan Xiongfeng, they couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. This Duan Ling Tian, did he not want to live anymore? Although Duan Ling Tian's talent and perception were extremely high, and he was rarely seen in their Hidden Fog sect, it was a fact that he didn't have any background. As for Shangguan Xiongfeng, he was the disciple of Elder Feng, one of the 4 highest elders of the Hidden Fog sect. He was also Elder Feng's most beloved disciple. Today, even if Shangguan Xiongfeng killed Duan Ling Tian in a rage, it was impossible for him to pay for Duan Ling Tian's life with his own. At most, he would be casually punished. His status allowed him to ignore the sect's rules. How about it? Do you dare? Duan Ling Tian looked at Shangguan Xiongfeng, his lips curling in a mocking smile. Long Xiao, who was standing beside Shangguan Xiongfeng, was also shocked by Duan Ling Tian's strength. This Duan Ling Tian, did he think they didn't dare to kill him? Not only did he provoke him, but he also provoked Shangguan Xiongfeng? Long Xiao, I want his life. Shangguan Xiongfeng was so angry that his body trembled. In the end he couldn't bear it any longer. After greeting Long Xiao, his figure flashed and he flew towards Duan Lingtian. Long Xiao was speechless. I called you here just to watch the situation. Why are you doing it yourself? However, when he thought of his purpose in coming here today, which was to kill Duan Lingtian to vent his anger, he felt relieved. As long as this Duan Lingtian who had played him like a monkey died here today, it was fine. Whether he died at his hands or Shangguan Xiongfeng's hands, it was all the same. I can give you his life, but you will owe me a favor. Long Xiao shouted as he looked at Shangguan Xiongfeng's back. Sure. Upon hearing Long Xiao's words, Shangguan Xiongfeng, who had arrived near Duan Lingtian, replied coldly. As for the surrounding core disciples at this moment, they only felt a chill in their hearts. These two people completely disregarded the rules of the Hidden Fog sect. If they wanted to kill someone, they would kill them. If they were in Duan Lingtian's position today, they would have died without a doubt. Moreover, after they died, the sect would not stand up for them. This was because both Long Xiao and Shangguan Xiongfeng had a master who could protect them. At this moment, they looked at Duan Lingtian with eyes full of pity. Deep in their hearts, they felt a sense of sympathy for him. What a pity for such a genius. Because of Long Xiao and Shangguan Xiongfeng, the Hidden Fog sect will lose a genius that is no worse than Shui Haichuan from 10,000 years ago. The group of core disciples sighed in their hearts. In the distance, the inner sect elder Zhang Jin, who had once led the way for Duan Lingtian and brought him here, had arrived a long time ago. He had been quietly watching everything that was happening before his eyes. Although he was the inner sect elder in charge of the core disciples' cultivation area, he should have stepped forward to stop the battle between two core disciples. But when he saw that one side was Long Xiao and Shangguan Xiongfeng, he didn't dare to interfere. If he didn't care, he would at most be punished. He wouldn't die. But once he interfered, he might suffer revenge in the future and die without a burial ground. Thus, even though he pitted Duan Lingtian, he didn't dare to interfere. He could only sigh in his heart. Duan Lingtian, why did you come back? Even if you broke through to become a lower god king, it is impossible for you to be a match for either one of them. And now both of them want to kill you. Zhang Jin felt powerless. At the same time, messages were being sent out by the core disciples to those they were familiar with, informing them of what had happened. Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao wanted to kill Duan Lingtian. Shangguan Xiongfeng had already attacked. Duan Lingtian was in imminent danger. The news spread very quickly. As an inner sect elder, Tang Chun also received the news very quickly. Horror dawned on his face immediately. How did Duan Lingtian offend Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao? The last time Long Xiao looked for him, was it to kill him? Tang Chun felt his scalp tingle. Heavens! Duan Lingtian's status isn't so simple. If he dies in the Hidden Fog sect, then? Tang Chun didn't dare to think any further. In the past, before he went to Skywind City's Hidden Fog Academy and brought Duan Lingtian to the Hidden Fog sect, he had gone to a restaurant owned by a God King level family clan, the Zhong family. He had seen with his own eyes how the Zhong family feared Duan Lingtian as if he were a god. At that time, he had guessed that behind Duan Lingtian, there was at least a god emperor level influence. And after that, he had asked the Zhong family's old ancestor many times. This was the Hidden Fog sect's old ancestor who had warned him not to move against the Zhong family. But the old ancestor wasn't willing to tell him. It was only recently that the old ancestor couldn't stand his pestering that he finally told him everything he knew. Duan Lingtian had once been together with a young girl. They were close to each other as if they were brother and sister. And that young girl had a god emperor powerhouse protecting her. Moreover, this god emperor didn't seem to be an ordinary lower god emperor. He was suspected to be an outstanding lower god emperor or even a middle god emperor. It had to be known that in their Hidden Fog sect, only the 4 highest elders of the Wind, Thunder, Cloud and Fog sect could be considered outstanding lower god emperors. As for the remaining god emperors, they were all ordinary lower god emperors. For an existence like the Wind, Thunder, Cloud and Fog sect's 4 highest elders to protect her, the young girl's status could be imagined. She was at least someone from a peak god emperor level influence, or even someone from a god emperor level influence. As for Duan Lingtian, he had a close relationship with that young girl. Crazy, this is crazy, Tang Chun's heart trembled. If Duan Lingtian really died at the hands of Long Xiao or Shangguan Xiongfeng in the Hidden Fog sect, it could be imagined what would happen to the Hidden Fog sect once that young girl was enraged. Granduncle. As Tang Chun's heart was shaking and his mind was blank, unable to recover for a long time, Tang Wuyan's message arrived. Hurry and go to the core disciples' cultivation area. Save Duanling Tian. Tang Huiyan's message was filled with anxiety, and there was even a trace of sobbing in his voice. Tang Chun regained his composure. He hurriedly responded with a yes, and then rushed to the core disciples' cultivation area. He had to stop Long Xiao and Shengguan Xiongfeng. Otherwise, the Hidden Fog sect would welcome an unprecedented calamity. At that time, unless the Tianlong clan was willing to protect the Hidden Fog sect, it would be difficult for the Hidden Fog sect to escape annihilation. Vice Sect Master Murong. As he was rushing to the core disciples' cultivation area, Tang Chun didn't forget to send a message to Murong Suifeng, the Vice Sect Master of the Hidden Fog sect as well as the Dean of Skywind City's Hidden Fog Academy. He told him what had happened in the Hidden Fog sect. Then he revealed some shocking news. Vice Sect Master Murong, you also participated in Skywind City's Zhou family's auction in the past. There was a young girl with a mysterious identity who had a God Emperor powerhouse protecting her. You should remember this, right? At that time, the youth who bid for the Jia Yi Bing 3 divine pill in the box was Duanling Tian. This matter has been confirmed by the Zhong family. Before the young girl's God Emperor powerhouse made a move, someone from the Zhong family entered the box and saw Duanling Tian. Vice Sect Master Murong, I don't have the Sect Master's soul bead. Quickly send a message to the Sect Master and tell him to stop Long Xiao and Shengguan Xiongfeng from killing Duanling Tian. Tang Chun felt that by the time he arrived at the core disciples' cultivation area, it would be too late. So, on the way he sent a message to Murong Suifeng, telling him to tell the Hidden Fog Sect Master to stop Long Xiao and Shengguan Xiongfeng from killing Duanling Tian. He believed that as long as Vice Sect Master Murong told the Hidden Fog Sect Master about the pros and cons, the Sect Master would definitely tell Elder Feng and Elder Lei to stop the disciples. At the same time, Murong Suifeng, who was in Skywind City's Hidden Fog Academy, was completely stunned when he received Tang Chun's message. What? Duanling Tian is the young man who went missing after the young lady left the Zhou clan's auction with the Divine Emperor by her side. Murong Suifeng was stunned for a moment. When he thought of what Tang Chun said, his expression changed. He immediately sent a message to the Hidden Fog Sect Master. As for the Hidden Fog Sect Master, after receiving Murong Suifeng's message, his expression also changed. Are you sure Duanling Tian is that person? The Hidden Fog Sect Master had entered the Hidden Fog sect with Murong Suifeng when he was young. So, the two of them had a good relationship and often chatted in private. Because of this, when Murong Suifeng mentioned the Zhou family's auction house to him, he also knew about the young girl who had a God Emperor powerhouse protecting her. He also knew about the young man who had a close relationship with the young girl who had suddenly disappeared. Now, after learning that the young man was Duanling Tian and that Shengguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao were preparing to kill Duanling Tian, his heart trembled. This matter can be confirmed by Skywind City's God King level Zhong family. Sect Master, the most important thing now is to stop Long Xiao and Shengguan Xiongfeng. If we stop them, Duanling Tian won't die. If you want to confirm it, it won't be too late to confirm it later. Do you want to gamble? Murong Suifeng's messages came one after another, completely awakening the Hidden Fog Sect Master. He didn't hesitate and immediately sent a message to the Hidden Fog sect's Grand Elder Feng and Grand Elder Lei. He wanted them to stop their sect's disciples, Shengguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao, from killing Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian, it seems his background isn't ordinary? He once acted intimately with a young girl who had a God Emperor powerhouse protecting her. They seem to be siblings? That God Emperor powerhouse isn't an ordinary low-level God Emperor. He seems to be an outstanding low-level God Emperor? After Grand Elder Feng and Grand Elder Lei learned of this matter, they were naturally shocked. In particular, Grand Elder Lei was suddenly enlightened. No wonder that Duanling Tian rejected me and wasn't willing to enter my sect. It seems his background isn't ordinary. We must stop Xiao immediately. We must stop Xiongfeng. When the two Grand Elders of the Hidden Fog sect hurriedly regained their senses and wanted to take out the soul pearls of their sect's disciples, Long Xiao and Shengguan Xiongfeng. However, they discovered that the soul pearls of their sect's disciples, Long Xiao and Shengguan Xiongfeng, had completely shattered, turning into fragments that lay quietly in their storage rings. Chapter 37-39. At the core disciples' cultivation area. When Shengguan Xiongfeng attacked Duanling Tian, the core disciples present as well as the inner sect elder Zhang Jin, all thought that Duanling Tian would die. Even though Duan Ling Tian had displayed astonishing strength in the past and had already stepped into the Lesser God King realm, Shangguan Xiongfeng's inner sect elder was much stronger than most inner sect elders. But Shangguan Xiongfeng was a core disciple whose strength surpassed most inner sect elders. His talent and perception could be ranked in the top echelons of the Hidden Fog sect. In terms of laws, Shangguan Xiongfeng wasn't any weaker than Duan Ling Tian. In terms of cultivation, Shangguan Xiongfeng was superior. In terms of divine artifacts, the two of them could only take out mediocre divine artifacts at most. As for bloodline power, Duan Ling Tian came from a Devata realm and wasn't a native of a realm of gods. Naturally, he didn't have it. However, Shangguan Xiongfeng had it. Of course, Duan Ling Tian had accidentally comprehended the embryonic form of Sword Dao. Although it couldn't be considered a true Sword Dao, its might couldn't be underestimated. However, the embryonic form of Sword Dao wasn't enough for Duan Ling Tian to overcome the gap in cultivation and bloodline power between him and Shangguan Xiongfeng. At most, the embryonic form of Sword Dao was equal to bloodline power. How could he make up for the gap in cultivation? Duan Ling Tian is dead for sure. The heavens are jealous of geniuses. Shangguan Xiongfeng flew out like an eagle and attacked Duan Ling Tian. As soon as he attacked, he took out a mediocre divine artifact and attacked without holding back at all. The surrounding core disciples felt pity in their hearts. Many people looked at Duan Ling Tian with pity in their eyes. At the same time, they felt like a fox mourning the death of a rabbit. The disciples of the Hidden Fog sect's 4 highest elders usually knew their place and behaved themselves. Once they attacked a Hidden Fog sect disciple, it would be a nightmare for them. "How dare you make fun of me, Long Xiao? You deserve to die." Long Xiao stood in the distance with his arms crossed in front of his chest. He looked at Duan Ling Tian with a sneer on his face. His eyes were filled with schadenfreude. "Duan Ling Tian, it's good to have a backbone. But if you don't have the ability and still play with your backbone, then that's stupid behavior. If there is an afterlife, learn to keep a low profile." Long Xiao sent a voice transmission to Duan Ling Tian, his tone full of ridicule. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Duan Ling Tian make a move. He actually also brazenly attacked Shangguan Xiongfeng. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. The mocking smile on Long Xiao's face grew wider. And now, the others basically had the same thoughts. "Duan Ling Tian, if you can survive under my hands today, I will return those 2 fate pills to you." Shangguan Xiongfeng faced Duan Ling Tian and said in a cold tone. His words carried a hint of mockery, as if he had already defeated Duan Ling Tian. "I'm afraid even if you want to return them, you won't be alive to do so." Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, they heard Duan Ling Tian's reply to Shangguan Xiongfeng. Then they were shocked to see, as Duan Ling Tian's divine power soared, the law of space ultimacy was further revealed. The combination of the 3 ultimacies showed that he had surpassed Shangguan Xiongfeng in terms of comprehension of the law. Then, a divine sword that caused the crowd to tremble appeared in his hand. Together with the embryonic form of sword principle, it completely suppressed Shangguan Xiongfeng's attack in a crushing manner. It should be known that now, except for the power of the bloodline, Shangguan Xiongfeng did not hold back at all. How is this possible? Shangguan Xiongfeng's calm expression changed drastically. At the same time, his whole body was surrounded by a bloody light. The power of the bloodline that he did not intend to use burst out in an instant. However, even so, he was still at a disadvantage. Duan Ling Tian had not made a move yet, but once he made a move, he was completely desperate. Shangguan Xiongfeng did not expect that Duan Ling Tian had not used the law of space before. What was more unexpected was that Duan Ling Tian had a high-grade divine weapon. Now, the divine sword in Duan Ling Tian's hand was a high-grade divine sword. Together with the embryonic form of sword principle and his law of space, it completely suppressed his attack. Run. At this moment, Shangguan Xiongfeng realized that he was no match for Duan Ling Tian. If he continued to fight, he would definitely die. So, he decisively wanted to break away from his attack and escape. Otherwise, he would definitely die. However, his reaction was a little too slow. Whoosh. The sword radiance condensed by the spatial storm swept out through the high-grade divine sword. Once it was launched, it was like a meteor in the dark, eye-catching and difficult to blink. Boom. With a loud bang, the sword radiance shattered Shangguan Xiongfeng's attack. Then, it was Shangguan Xiongfeng himself. When the sword radiance landed on his body, it instantly wreaked havoc. Ah! The moment before his body was blown into a bloody mist by the spatial storm, Shangguan Xiongfeng's miserable and pained cry reverberated through the surroundings. Everyone who heard it felt their scalps tingle and their hairs stand on end. If you want to return it, you have to wait for me to accept it. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Duanling Tian stood in the air that was filled with blood mist as he spoke in an indifferent tone. At this time Duanling Tian stood there, proud and aloof like a sword god. This, I'm not dreaming, am I? Senior apprentice brother Shangguan Xiongfeng died? Shangguan Xiongfeng was one of the top 3 core disciples of our hidden fog sect. Even the strongest core disciple didn't dare to say he could kill him. Yet he died at Duanling Tian's hands? Doesn't that mean, with the strength that Duanling Tian has displayed, he can be ranked as the strongest core disciple of our hidden fog sect? He is also the strongest core disciple of our hidden fog sect. Don't think too much about it. Do you think that Elder Feng will let him go after he killed Shangguan Xiongfeng? Shangguan Xiongfeng was Elder Feng's most beloved disciple. Moreover, some people say that Shangguan Xiongfeng might be Elder Feng's grandson, the son of Elder Feng's illegitimate child. The surrounding crowd of spectating core disciples were dumbstruck by the scene before them for a short moment before returning to their senses, and the gazes they shot at Duanling Tian were filled with astonishment and disbelief. This Duanling Tian, Zhang Jin was also stunned. With Duanling Tian's current strength, even if he wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as killing a chicken. Although he was stronger than most of the inner sect elders, he was at most on par with Long Xiao. Compared to Shangguan Xiongfeng, he was slightly inferior. No, impossible, impossible. Long Xiao stood in the distance. His originally mocking smile had completely frozen and was replaced with shock. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Long Xiao, you wanted to kill me just now. While Long Xiao was still in a daze, Duanling Tian's gaze had already landed on him. The killing intent in Duanling Tian's eyes caused Long Xiao to shiver. He immediately regained his composure and turned around, wanting to leave. His strength was inferior to Shangguan Xiongfeng's. Shangguan Xiongfeng had been killed by Duanling Tian in a single move, so what could he do? Run? This was the only thought left in Long Xiao's mind. He only wanted to escape back to his master's place of cultivation. Then Duanling Tian wouldn't be able to kill him. At the same time he turned around and took out his master's soul bead. He was prepared to send a message to his master to save him. No. However, Duanling Tian's figure had teleported to block his path, and the sword light that was swinging towards him made it impossible for him to send a message. Long Xiao didn't plan to fight with Duanling Tian. Coupled with the fear in his heart, even if he hastily blocked Duanling Tian's attack, it would be futile. Boom. When the spatial storm raged again, Long Xiao's body exploded into a bloody mist, following in Shangguan Xiongfeng's footsteps. When this scene appeared, the group of core disciples who had just regained their composure fell into a daze again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, several figures rushed to the scene. They were the first group of hidden fog sect elders and disciples who had received news of what had happened here. However, all they saw was the bloody mist floating down and Duanling Tian's figure standing with his hands behind his back. Now, the high-grade divine sword had been stored in Duanling Tian's storage ring. What's going on? Didn't they say that Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao wanted to kill Duanling Tian? Where are they? Ding Yiming, I received your message and came over. You aren't lying to me, right? The group of people who had just arrived were all dumbfounded. They looked left and right, but they didn't see Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao's figures. They all felt like they had been deceived. Duanling Tian? Tang Chun also arrived. When he saw that Duanling Tian was safe and sound, he couldn't help but sigh in relief. It seemed that his message had been effective. After a while, more and more people arrived. At this time, the group of core disciples who were originally present regained their senses. Faced with the doubts of the people they had called over, they first looked at the purple figure standing not far away in horror before they said in a hushed voice, Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao were just killed by Duanling Tian. Initially, I thought Duanling Tian would be killed by Shangguan Xiongfeng, but I didn't expect him to kill Shangguan Xiongfeng instead. Long Xiao tried to escape, but Duanling Tian chased after him and killed him with just one strike. I'm afraid today's matter will be difficult to resolve. Elder Feng and Elder Lei will definitely not let this matter rest. That's right. Although Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao wanted to kill Duanling Tian first, and Duanling Tian was only defending himself, everyone knows that things are not that simple. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame Duanling Tian for not having any background. As the group of core disciples who were originally present spoke, the group of people who had just arrived was stunned again. Duanling Tian killed Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao? When Tang Chun heard the words of the core disciples, he was also stunned. When he looked at Duan Lingtian again, it was as if he was looking at a complete stranger. Didn't that mean that Duan Lingtian's current strength could only be stronger than his? Killing Shangguan Xiongfeng in a single move, even he couldn't do that. Xiongfeng. As the group of people that had just arrived were frightened, two angry old roars spread through the entire Hidden Fog Sect station like a thunderclap. Chapter 3740. As the two angry roars spread out, the entire Hidden Fog Sect station was in an uproar. Besides those who were in seclusion and had set up soundproof array formations, everyone else, no matter what they were doing, could clearly hear the two angry roars. Xiongfeng? Could it be Shangguan Xiongfeng? While most people in the Hidden Fog Sect were still in a daze, there were already many figures that flew towards the core disciples' training area. These people were either high-level figures of the Hidden Fog Sect or disciples of the Hidden Fog Sect. Even the Hidden Fog Sect's second elder, Wu Fengyin, was among them. What's going on? Listening to Elder Feng and Elder Thunder's angry roars, did something happen to Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao? Originally, when Wu Fengyin received the news that Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao wanted to kill Duan Lingtian, he was very happy. He thought that Duan Lingtian would undoubtedly die and that he would be able to save some effort. This was because he also planned to kill Duan Lingtian. It wasn't just because Duan Lingtian had killed his eldest disciple, Tu Feng, but also because he was worried that Duan Lingtian would grow in the future and kill him in order to eliminate him by the roots. Now he could still take the initiative. But in the future he could only be passive. Now that Duan Lingtian was dead, he might be killed in the future. Of these two choices, he undoubtedly chose the former. However, he still hadn't found a suitable opportunity to kill Duan Lingtian. When Long Xiao went to King's Descent City to look for Duan Lingtian, he had also paid attention to it. He had even personally rushed over, thinking that if Duan Lingtian appeared, he would personally kill him. However, Long Xiao had returned without success and he had also returned without success. Until today he thought it was good news. He had been waiting for news of Duan Lingtian's death to arrive. However, what he didn't expect was that what he had been waiting for were two of the four Grand Elders with the highest status and strongest strength in the Hidden Fog Sect. The roars of the two men not only contained anger, but also a trace of desolation of a white-haired person sending off a black-haired person. Therefore he guessed that Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao were most likely finished. What's going on? Even if that Duan Lingtian has already become a lower divine king, it's impossible for him to have the ability to kill Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao. Could it be that someone helped him? But, in the Hidden Fog Sect, who would dare to help him kill Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao? At this time Wu Fengyin, the Hidden Fog Sect's second elder, was filled with confusion. But he was overjoyed. Once something happens to Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao, it doesn't matter whether they were killed by Duan Lingtian or not. As long as they died because of Duan Lingtian won't be able to survive. Looks like I don't need to waste any effort to kill him. Wu Fengyin didn't care if Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao were still alive. He only cared about Duan Lingtian's life and death. No one wished to have such an enemy with such astonishing potential. From the moment his eldest disciple, Tu Feng, was killed by Duan Lingtian, he and Duan Lingtian were destined to walk on opposite sides. At the core disciples' cultivation area, more and more people gathered from all over. In particular, after the two angry old roars spread throughout the Hidden Fog Sect station, the entire Hidden Fog Sect was in an uproar. Those who were originally able to sit still could no longer sit still. They all rushed over. Duan Lingtian? Tang Huiyan also arrived. She wanted to go over and look for Duan Lingtian, but she was blocked by Tang Chun. Girl, don't go over. Granduncle? Tang Huiyan looked at Tang Chun puzzled. Did you hear that voice just now? That was Elder Feng and Elder Lei's voices. Duan Lingtian killed Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao with his own hands. Tang Chun said in a low voice. What? Tang Huiyan was rushing over. Although the two voices were very sudden, she was worried about Duan Lingtian's safety, so she didn't think too much about it. Now, after hearing her granduncle's words, she was completely stunned. Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao were both dead? Moreover, they were killed by Duan Lingtian with his own hands? Duan Lingtian actually had such strength? Junior brother Duan. At some unknown time Wu Feng also arrived. He looked at Duan Lingtian from afar with a complicated expression. At the same time he couldn't help but send a sound transmission. You shouldn't be so impulsive. Even if you came back, you shouldn't have made such a big fuss. Moreover, after you came back, what you should have done was to defeat either Long Xiao or Shangguan Xiongfeng and then become Elder Yun's or Elder Wu's disciple. You were too impulsive. Now that you've killed Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao, Elder Feng and Elder Lei will never let you go. How will you deal with this? Although I want to help you, there is nothing I can do. Wu Feng sighed. Many thanks for senior apprentice brother Wu Feng's concern. Duan Lingtian glanced at Wu Feng from afar. After greeting him with a sound transmission, he swept his eyes around. Now more and more people were arriving. Among them there were some familiar faces. It's the sect master. Suddenly there was a cry of alarm. Following that, everyone's eyes turned towards the person who spoke. They saw a figure slowly walking through the air in the distance. It was as if every inch of land was the same as the sky. In just a few steps, this figure appeared not too far away from Duan Lingtian, standing high in the air. Sect Master. Sect Master. At the same time, the group of people present bowed respectfully to the person who had just arrived. This newcomer was the Hidden Fog Sect's Sect Master, Qian Yin. Of course, his original name wasn't Qian Yin. It was just that every sect master of the Hidden Fog Sect didn't need to change their surname, but they had to change their name to Yin. This was the Hidden Fog Sect's tradition, and it was also a rule that the sect master of the Hidden Fog Sect couldn't violate. Perhaps this was just a joke that the founding ancestor of the Hidden Fog Sect made on a whim, but no one dared to violate this rule. Qian Yin was a tall and handsome middle-aged man. He was dressed like a scholar and he looked extraordinarily refined. The moment Duan Lingtian saw Qian Yin, the sect master of the Hidden Fog Sect, he immediately thought of the dean of Skywind City's Hidden Fog Academy, Murong Suifeng. The feeling Qian Yin gave him was very similar to Murong Suifeng. Even his temperament was similar. But what was different from Murong Suifeng was that Qian Yin had a sharpness to him. Perhaps this was because he was the Hidden Fog Sect's sect master. You are Duan Lingtian? Qian Yin looked at Duan Lingtian, his eyes calm. There was no joy or sorrow on his face. Greetings, sect master. Duan Lingtian calmly looked at Qian Yin and nodded. This could be considered a greeting. You killed Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao? Qian Yin asked. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. Why? Qian Yin asked. They wanted to kill me. Am I not allowed to fight back? Duan Lingtian replied with a question. Hearing this, Qian Yin's originally calm expression finally changed a little. He immediately turned his head around and shouted in a deep voice, except for the core disciples and inner sect elders, everyone else is to leave the core disciple cultivation area. The inner sect elders included the core elders, grand elders and even protectors. Thus, Qian Yin didn't go into too much detail. As soon as Qian Yin finished speaking, even though the inner sect deacons, inner sect disciples, outer sect elders, outer sect deacons and outer sect disciples who had rushed over to join in the fun were extremely unwilling, they still obediently retreated from the core disciple cultivation area. Even Tang Wuyin retreated unwillingly under Tang Chun's warning gaze. For a time the number of people present decreased by a lot. Only a group of core disciples and inner sect elders remained. Sect leader, you asked them to leave. It seems like you don't intend to follow the sect rules and directly convict me of a crime? From the beginning until the end, Duan Lingtian watched the scene unfold with a calm expression. He didn't even stop those people from leaving. However, after those people left, he couldn't help but laugh. Duan Lingtian, I can't believe you saw this coming. Why did you still do that? It's impossible that you don't know that Shangguan Xiongfeng is Elder Feng's disciple, and Long Xiao is Elder Lei's disciple. Qian Yin said in a deep voice as he looked at Duan Lingtian. However, at the same time, a hint of fear could be seen in the depths of his eyes when he looked at Duan Lingtian. Deep down he was still afraid of Duan Lingtian's identity. This was especially so when Duan Lingtian displayed his heaven-defying strength and Duan Lingtian actually had a prominent divine weapon in his possession. It had to be known that even a divine emperor-level force would only have a few prominent divine weapons without an artifact soul. For example, in their Hidden Fog sect, only he, the 4 Grand Elders and a few others had prominent divine weapons. I'll say the same thing. Duan Lingtian looked at Qian Yin calmly. They wanted to kill me, so I was purely defending myself. However, who would have thought that they would be so weak? They couldn't even take a single strike from me. When Duan Lingtian reached the end of his sentence, a hint of mockery could be seen on the corners of his mouth. Oh, oh. Almost at the instant Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, 2 figures appeared silently before everyone's eyes, one after the other. One of them was a thin old man in blue clothes. His face was thin and withered, but his eyes were sharper than an ordinary person's. His entire body exuded a sharp aura, as if he could tear apart space with the slightest movement of his robes. The other person was a tall old man in purple robes. His purple robes were embroidered with countless bolts of lightning. His hair was snow white, but his appearance was no different from a middle-aged man's. His eyes seemed to flash with lightning as they locked onto Duan Lingtian. "Greetings, Elder Wind." "Greetings, Elder Thunder." As the two old men appeared one after another, everyone present, with the exception of Sect Master Qian Yin, bowed respectfully to them. Through the greetings of the crowd, it wasn't hard to confirm the identities of these two people. They were two of the Hidden Fog Sect's 4 Grand Elders, Elder Wind and Elder Thunder. At the same time, they were also the masters of Shangguan Xiongfeng and Longshao. Elder Thunder had once sent a disciple to Duan Lingtian, intending to take him in as a disciple. But he was rejected by Duan Lingtian. This Duan Lingtian is dead for sure. In the crowd, the Hidden Fog Sect's 2nd Elder, Wu Fengyin, looked at the purple-clothed youth in front of him. His eyes and face were filled with schadenfreude. Chapter 3741. The Hidden Fog Sect's 4 highest elders represented wind, thunder, cloud, and mist. They represented the Hidden Fog Sect's strongest martial strength. Normally, if there wasn't anything important, they would rarely appear. Even for some of the inner sect elders and core disciples present, this was the first time they had seen the 2 highest elders appear at the same time. They should be worried about Duan Lingtian's background, so they should be lenient towards Duan Lingtian, right? Tang Chun looked at Elder Wind and Elder Thunder and felt his scalp tingle. These two weren't existences that ordinary highest elders of the Hidden Fog Sect could compare with. They didn't need to worry about killing a person in the Hidden Fog Sect. Of course, if that person had some great background, killing them would threaten them and even the Hidden Fog Sect, then they would definitely have some concerns. "You are Duan Lingtian?" The thin old man in blue clothes was Elder Wind. His sharp eyes emitted a calm light as they fell on Duan Lingtian. "Why did you kill my sect's disciple, Shangguan Xiongfeng?" Almost as soon as Elder Wind's voice fell, a powerful aura swept towards Duan Lingtian. In that instant, Duan Lingtian felt a strong pressure press down on him. But he clenched his teeth and withstood it. Duan Lingtian looked at Elder Wind without fear. He lightly said, "I didn't know Shangguan Xiongfeng. He blocked my path for no reason and stole my 2 revival good fortune pills. But today, when I spoke of this matter, he flew into a rage out of humiliation and wanted to kill me. I was just defending myself. I didn't think he would be so useless. I killed him with a single sword strike." As soon as Duan Lingtian spoke, Tang Chun's complexion changed. He never thought that Duan Lingtian would dare to speak like this in front of Elder Wind. And in that instant, everyone present could clearly feel a cold wind blow through the area. It was like the temperature of the entire core disciple area had dropped by a great deal. Elder Wind's blue clothes fluttered. He coldly said, "What evidence do you have that my sect's disciple, Shangguan Xiongfeng, stole your revival good fortune pills for no reason? Does a heart demon blood oath count?" Duan Lingtian took a deep look at Elder Feng as the corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. Heart demon blood oath. When Duan Lingtian said that, everyone present couldn't help but glance at Elder Feng cautiously. After all, Duan Lingtian had even brought out the heart demon blood oath. This meant that he was confident in everything he said and wasn't afraid of the heart demon blood oath. In an instant, the cold wind at the scene became stronger and colder. Elder Feng's green robes were already fluttering in the wind. His eyes had also gradually turned sharp. "Then why did you kill my disciple Longshao? I heard that he didn't attack you at all. It was you who attacked him and even killed him." When Elder Feng suddenly quietened down, Elder Lei opened his mouth. His voice was like a clap of thunder. Sound waves rolled out, condensed, and pierced into Duan Lingtian's ears, causing Duan Lingtian's eardrums to tremble. His body also involuntarily trembled. However, Duan Lingtian was still able to withstand it. If it were an ordinary lower god king, they might not have been able to withstand it. But he wasn't an ordinary lower god king. His physical fitness wasn't bad to begin with. In addition, he had fused with the 7 Orifices' exquisite sword and cultivated the pine willow god tree's divine image. The strength of the god tree of life had also tempered his body to a certain extent. Thus, let alone a lower god king, even an ordinary god sovereign might not be able to compare with him. "Longshao, Duan Lingtian's gaze shifted to Elder Lei. He faintly smiled. Elder Lei might not know, but several months ago Long Shao came to find me. He told me to kneel and walk 10 miles to your cultivation ground to beg you to become his disciple. There was no lack of threats in his words. I pretended to agree and left the Hidden Fog sect. When he learned that I had appeared in King Descent City, he went to King Descent City to search for my whereabouts. He stayed in King Descent City for a long time, waiting for me to show up. Today, as soon as I returned, he came looking for me, saying he wanted to kill me. Since he wants to kill me, do I have to leave him alive and give him a chance to kill me? Speaking of this, Duan Lingtian deeply looked at Elder Lei. I can take responsibility for everything I say. I can make a heart demon blood oath. As for whether it is true or false, I'm sure Elder Lei already knows. Duan Lingtian calmly said. As for Duan Lingtian's calmness as it fell into Elder Feng and Elder Lei's eyes, it seemed a bit unfathomable. This was because unless Duan Lingtian had some great background, they couldn't figure out where Duan Lingtian's confidence came from. Trying to reason with them? That would depend on whether the other party had enough cards in their hands. If Duan Lingtian was only an ordinary Hidden Fog sect disciple without any background, then no matter how high his talent or perception was, they would have already killed him. They wouldn't have bothered with him at all. The reason they hadn't done anything yet was because they feared that Duan Lingtian had some great background behind him. Duan Lingtian. After Elder Feng and Elder Lei exchanged sound transmissions with the Hidden Fog sect master, Qianyin stepped forward. He faintly glanced at Duan Lingtian. You killed Shengguan Xiongfeng and he tried to kill you. This is pardonable. But although Long Shao said he wanted to kill you, he didn't do anything. Perhaps that was just a joke. As for you, because of his words, you took the initiative to kill him. This is already a violation of the Hidden Fog sect's rules. So, after discussing this with Elder Feng and Elder Lei, we decided to imprison you. You will be imprisoned in Elder Feng's small world. Do you accept this punishment of mine? Qianyin, Elder Feng, and Elder Lei exchanged sound transmissions. Although the two of them wished they could kill Duan Lingtian as soon as possible, they still had to consider the overall situation. Thus, they decided to imprison Duan Lingtian and not kill Duan Lingtian. Like this, if Duan Lingtian had some great background, they would naturally send a message to inform his elders to come save him. And if no one came to save Duan Lingtian, it wouldn't be too late to kill him after some time had passed and take revenge for Shengguan Xiongfeng and Long Shao. The onlooking core disciples and inner sect elders were all stunned. They had never expected this to be the result. Duan Lingtian had killed Shengguan Xiongfeng and Long Shao, but he was only imprisoned. As far as they were concerned, Duan Lingtian would be directly executed. How is this possible? The Hidden Fog sect's second elder, Wu Fengyin, had a look of disbelief. He subconsciously wanted to interrupt, but as he thought about how he didn't have the qualifications to interrupt in front of these three and question their decision, he immediately shut his mouth. Duan Lingtian was also stunned. He originally thought that since he had killed Shengguan Xiongfeng and Long Shao, elders Feng and Lei would definitely kill him. At that time, the Linghu family's elders Heng and Huan would rescue him. He would then leave the Hidden Fog sect and join the Linghu family. But he never imagined that elders Feng and Lei wouldn't kill him. Moreover, they only decided to imprison him. What was going on? Duan Lingtian couldn't figure it out. Now he carefully observed elders Feng and Lei's eyes. It wasn't hard to discover that their eyes contained an icy killing intent aimed at him. Since they wanted to kill him, why didn't they make a move? Were they worried about something? Could it be that they had discovered that elders Heng and Huan were hiding in the shadows? Were elders Heng and Huan's concealment skills so poor? Duan Lingtian. As Duan Lingtian heard Chen Yin's words, he was startled. Before he could respond, a sound transmission entered his ears from behind Chen Yin. It was Tang Chun's sound transmission. The sect master and grand elders Feng and Lei have made this decision because they want to give you a chance to inform your elders. If your elders can make them lower their heads, they will definitely let you go. If they don't fear the background behind you, then you will be mercilessly killed by them. So, hurry up and inform your elders. These were Tang Chun's exact words. Elders? What elders? Duan Lingtian was startled. Elder Tang Chun, what do you mean? He didn't respond for a moment. Tang Chun was infuriated when he heard this. Duan Lingtian, it's already come to this. Don't hold back anymore. I've already obtained news from the Zhong family. Your background isn't ordinary. In the past, at Skywind City's Zhou family auction, The young girl who acted intimately with you had a divine emperor powerhouse protecting her. According to what Vice Sect Master Morong said, that divine emperor powerhouse's strength is likely no weaker than any of our hidden fog sects Feng, Lei Yun and Wu great elders. Previously, when I found out that Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao wanted to kill you, I immediately looked for Vice Sect Leader Morong and asked him to send a message to the sect leader to inform Elder Feng and Elder Lei to stop them from killing you. But I never imagined that not only were you not killed by them, but you even managed to kill them, moreover, in such a short period of time. As Tang Chun spoke, he was speechless. He had been worried that Duan Lingtian would be killed, but now it seemed that he shouldn't have been worried about Duan Lingtian, but Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao. So that's how it is. After Tang Chun's sound transmission, Duan Lingtian was finally enlightened. So the reason Elder Feng, Elder Lei and even the hidden fog sect Master Qian Yin hadn't executed him was because of the young girl he had met in Skywind City who called him Big Brother, Duan Xiaoyu. It was the same as the Zhong family. The three high-level figures of the hidden fog sect all feared Duan Xiaoyu's background. If they knew that I only met Duan Xiaoyu by chance and didn't know what her background was, perhaps they wouldn't hesitate to kill me. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Duan Lingtian, this is the sect's punishment for you. Are you satisfied? Seeing Duan Lingtian ignore him for a long time, the hidden fog sect Master Chen Yin's complexion turned ugly. He even reminded him, this is the sect's bottom line. Duan Lingtian looked at Chen Yin once more. His eyes were indifferent as he calmly said, Sect Master, from today onwards, I am no longer a disciple of the hidden fog sect. So I, Duan Lingtian, refuse the punishment your hidden fog sect has decided to give me. Imprisoned in Elder Feng's small world? What a joke. He naturally wouldn't agree to such a thing. He didn't have a background that Chen Yin, Elder Feng and Elder Lei would fear. Once he was imprisoned, even the Linghu family's Hung Huan elders wouldn't be able to rescue him. This Duan Lingtian actually had a background that made the hidden fog sect's three elders fear? One had to know that the three elders of the hidden fog sect could represent the entire hidden fog sect. In other words, Duan Lingtian's background was enough to make the entire hidden fog sect fear him? And his disciple, Tu Feng, had become a life and death enemy with such a person? Now Wu Fengyin's heart was in a panic. What to do? What to do? If this Duan Lingtian left the hidden fog sect alive and wanted to deal with him in the future, wouldn't he die without a doubt? Or should he leave the hidden fog sect, leave the Tunglung province, change his name and find a place to stay? Thinking of this, Wu Fengyin made a decision in his heart. At this moment he no longer had any thoughts of being enemies with Duan Lingtian. He only wanted to hide and avoid Duan Lingtian looking for him to settle accounts. Duan Lingtian naturally didn't know what Wu Fengyin was thinking. In fact, the current him had already thrown Wu Fengyin, the honorable master of the inner sect disciple Tu Feng, to the back of his mind. There is no need. Duan Lingtian calmly looked at the hidden fog sect Master Chen Yin. He lightly said, Sect Master Chen Yin, you are well aware of the ins and outs of this matter. Today if I were killed by them, what would happen to them if I didn't have a background? As Duan Lingtian spoke, the corners of his lips curled up in a mocking smile. I'm afraid that only if I have a background that the hidden fog sect and Elder Feng and Elder Lei fear will your hidden fog sect be willing to hand them over and pay with their lives for me? If I were only an ordinary hidden fog sect disciple, even if they violated the hidden fog sect's rules and killed me, the hidden fog sect wouldn't execute them, right? Duan Lingtian's mocking smile deepened. The toughness of his attitude and the confidence he had was shocking. As for Duan Lingtian's words, many of the inner sect elders bitterly smiled. This was because they knew that Duan Lingtian was speaking the truth. Even if most of them were killed by Shangguan Xiongfeng and Long Xiao, the sect wouldn't make them pay with their lives. After all, the two of them had a good honorable master. Imprisoning you is our hidden fog sect's bottom line. Chen Yin's eyes flashed with a cold light as he spoke. This was also what Chen Yin had discussed with Elder Feng and Elder Lei. It was impossible for them to allow Duan Lingtian to leave unscathed. After all, up until now they had only heard rumors that Duan Lingtian had a great background. They hadn't confirmed it yet. If Duan Lingtian didn't have a great background, then wouldn't it be a great loss for them to let Duan Lingtian go? Thus they all wanted to imprison Duan Lingtian first. If Duan Lingtian really did have some sort of background, then they could find someone to save him. If he didn't have any background, then it wouldn't be too late to execute him. Sect Master, why are you speaking so much nonsense with him? Elder Lei opened his mouth, his voice filled with impatience. Just let Elder Feng capture him and send him into the small world in his body. If he resists and isn't willing to enter Elder Feng's small world, then Elder Feng can seal his cultivation and imprison him in Elder Feng's cultivation area. Let's leave this matter to his elders, said Lin Yun. As Elder Lei's voice fell, Elder Feng's robes suddenly fluttered. Then a terrifying cold wind swept out from his body, howling towards Duan Lingtian. At the same time, Elder Feng lifted his hand. He casually waved his hand, planning to bind Duan Lingtian and bring him in front of him. Facing Elder Feng's attack, Duan Lingtian had an indifferent expression, as if he didn't see anything. When this scene fell into the eyes of everyone, they naturally thought that he had been scared silly. This can already be considered the best ending. There's no need to worry about that girl Wu Yan. Seeing this, Tang Chun let out a sigh of relief. This was because he felt that as long as Duan Lingtian called over the elders behind him, he would be able to regain his freedom. For a short period of time, even if Duan Lingtian was imprisoned, their hidden fog sect master and the two highest elders, Elder Feng and Elder Lei, wouldn't dare to rashly move against him. Bang! With the sudden sound of a storm, Elder Feng's attack was interrupted before Duan Lingtian could even touch Duan Lingtian. Who is it? Elder Feng's complexion changed. As for Elder Lei, he had already shouted out. As for the hidden fog sect master, Chen Yin, he looked around with a dignified expression. Ha! Oh, the hidden fog sect has fallen to the point where several old fellows are bullying a junior? With a burst of laughter, a figure as fat as a ball stepped down from the air. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Duan Lingtian. Linghu Huan. Seeing the fat old man in front of them, Elder Feng and Elder Lei's complexions changed. They subconsciously looked into the sky. This was because according to their understanding of this fat old man, it was impossible for him to appear by himself. As for the hidden fog sect master, Chen Yin, everyone from the hidden fog sect followed Elder Feng and Elder Lei's gazes and looked into the sky. At the same time, they also saw the figure that suddenly appeared in the sky. Compared to the fat old man who appeared a moment ago, this old man was incomparably thin. He stood there, his aura restrained. If they hadn't seen him with their own eyes, they wouldn't have noticed when he had appeared. Oh! The thin old man's figure flickered and he arrived beside the fat old man, standing shoulder to shoulder with him. Linghu Heng. Elder Feng's and Elder Lei's eyes turned vigilant. Why are you here? You trespassed into our hidden fog sect. Are you trying to incite conflict between our hidden fog sect and your Linghu family? Linghu Heng? Just now, Elder Lei seemed to call that fat old man Linghu Huan. Could he be the Linghu family's Heng and Huan elders? The Linghu family's Heng and Huan elders? Those are the two strongest people in the Linghu family. They are twins, and once they join forces, it is said that even the four grand elders of our hidden fog sect, Feng, Lei Yun and Wu, would find it difficult to defeat them. Why would they be here? Moreover, for them to appear at this time, could they be here for Duan Lingtian? Could it be that Duan Lingtian's background is the Linghu family? That's impossible. If Duan Lingtian is a member of the Linghu family, then why would he enter our hidden fog sect? Isn't it because he has nothing better to do? After learning the identities of the two old men who appeared, the core disciples and inner sect elders couldn't help but whisper amongst themselves. Linghu Heng and Linghu Huan, these two people were even more famous than the hidden fog sect's grand elders Feng, Lei Yun and Wu. Chi. The fat old man Linghu Huan looked at Elder Feng and Elder Lei and sneered with disdain. If we weren't here, I'm afraid our Linghu family would have been imprisoned by your hidden fog sect today. Chapter 3743. We are members of the Linghu family. Want free to see the whole edition? Please search product equals book equals network. Following Linghu Huan's words, the gazes of all the people present, as if they had discussed beforehand, all gathered on the purple figure behind Linghu Huan and Linghu Heng. This Duan Lingtian, is he really a member of the Linghu family? Are you joking? If he is a member of the Linghu family, why would he come to our hidden fog sect? That's right, even if the Linghu family wanted to place a spy in our hidden fog sect, it's impossible for them to send such a monstrous genius like Duan Lingtian, right? Isn't that the same as sending a lamb to the tiger's den? Duan Lingtian's talent and perception were obvious to all. In fact, everyone present from the hidden fog sect knew that with the talent and perception Duan Lingtian displayed, Not only could he compare with their hidden fog sect's Shui Haichuan from 10,000 years ago, but he could even be said to be superior to Shui Haichuan. As for the disheartened hidden fog sect's second elder Wu Fengyin, his originally dim eyes brightened once more. If Duan Lingtian was a member of the Linghu family, then there was no need for him to leave the hidden fog sect and hide. The Linghu family was only a divine emperor-level influence on the same level as the hidden fog sect. It wasn't enough for him to leave his home. This Duan Lingtian is a member of your Linghu family? Elder Feng and Elder Lei's expressions changed at the same time. Elder Lei asked in a deep voice. His voice was like muffled thunder, making those who heard it feel oppressed. Just by listening to his voice, one could hear Elder Thunder's current mood. That's right. Linghu Huan lightly said, so we will take him away now. I presume you don't have any objections? Almost at the instant Linghu Huan's words left his mouth, frightening divine power swept out from Elder Feng and Elder Lei's bodies. It fused with the law of wind and the law of lightning. The power of wind and lightning was fully displayed, and they were ready to attack at any time. You're all smart people. Seeing Elder Wind and Elder Thunder like this, Linghu Huan's complexion didn't change but his tone became much colder. You should know that even if your hidden fog sects Cloud Mist and Cloud Mist were here, it would still be impossible for them to stop us two brothers. Moreover, do you believe that even if Cloud Mist and Cloud Mist were here, we would still be able to protect Duan Lingtian and kill some of your hidden fog sect people? As Linghu Huan spoke, he tilted his head and swept his eyes over the crowd of hidden fog sect disciples and elders. As they saw this, their complexions changed and they hurriedly drew back, putting some distance between them. Even Elder Feng's and Elder Lei's faces changed slightly. Linghu Huan. The hidden fog sect's sect master Qian Yin had an ugly expression as he said, "Does your Linghu family want to start a war with my hidden fog sect?" He naturally knew that the fat old man in front of him wasn't boasting. If he joined forces with Linghu Hung, they could easily take away Duan Lingtian. Moreover, as long as they wanted to, they could even kill many of the hidden fog sect people present as they left. Not to mention that their hidden fog sect only had 3 divine emperor powerhouses present. Even if the 2 Cloud Mist sect grand elders were present, they would at most be able to protect a few hidden fog sect elders and disciples. They wouldn't be able to protect everyone and they wouldn't be able to keep each other here. Start a war? Linghu Huan smiled. Good. Then when the time comes, our Linghu family can consider cooperating with the 10,000 demon sect and wrestle with your hidden fog sect. Once Linghu Huan said this, Qian Yin's complexion changed. But he didn't continue to speak ruthlessly. Little fellow, let's go. In front of the hidden fog sect people, Linghu Huan took out the divine emperor level flying ship they came on. Then he and Linghu Heng entered together with Duan Lingtian. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared before the hidden fog sect people. From beginning to end, whether it was the hidden fog sect master Qian Yin, Elder Wind, or Elder Thunder, none of them dared to act rashly. This was because they knew that although the Linghu family's Linghu Huan seemed like a good-natured fatty, the truth was that he was a madman with a smile on his face. Once they attacked, he really would dare to attack the other disciples of the hidden fog sect. Among the core disciples present, there was no lack of other disciples. One of their disciples had already died, so they didn't want to lose another. Thus, they could only plan for the long term. Sect Master, can the sect protecting array formation stop them? Elder Thunder looked at Qian Yin and asked in a low voice. Listening to his tone, it wasn't hard to tell that he was suppressing his anger. There's no other way. Qian Yin shook his head. Our hidden fog sect isn't good at laying down arrays to begin with. While this sect protecting array formation can easily discover them, it's impossible to stop them. Moreover, their divine emperor-level flying ship has already flown away from our hidden fog sect station. Qian Yin's tone was filled with helplessness. Damn it. Elder Thunder's complexion paled and became extremely ugly. That damn fatty, he is too arrogant. Elder Wind, Elder Thunder, let's talk somewhere else. Qian Yin took a deep breath. Even he, the hidden fog sect master, felt an enormous humiliation just now. His heart was filled with anger. But no matter how angry he was, it was useless. After all, the other party wasn't an ordinary person. I've already told Elder Cloud and Elder Wu not to come here. I told them to wait for us at my cultivation area. Just now, when the Linghu family's Hang and Huan elders appeared, Qian Yin, the hidden fog sect master, had immediately contacted the other 2 highest elders of the hidden fog sect who were equally famous as Elder Wind and Elder Thunder, Elder Cloud and Elder Wu. Originally, Elder Cloud and Elder Wu had come here. But now, the two old fellows of the Linghu family had already left with Duan Lingtian. It was too late for them to come here. Thus, he had them make a temporary detour to his cultivation area. However, after Elder Wind and Elder Thunder left, Qianyin, the hidden fog sect's sect master, solemnly swept his eyes over everyone present. Regarding today's matters, what should be said and what shouldn't be said, you should all be clear in your hearts. If I find out who is spouting nonsense, don't blame me for being impolite. Although the hidden fog sect's core disciples and inner sect elders all nodded in agreement, Qianyi knew that his words weren't enough to stop them from speaking. What he said was merely a formality. The hidden fog sect's four highest elders had the highest status and were also the strongest. Elder Cloud was a middle-aged man. He was slightly fat and his entire body was covered in jewels. His clothes were made of silk and satin, making him look like a nouveau riche from the mortal world. As for Elder Wu, he had an otherworldly appearance. He had white hair and a ruddy complexion. His hair was as white as snow, and his eyebrows and beard were white. But his face was that of a young man. You two fellows came too slowly. That person has already run away. Seeing the two of them, Elder Thunder grumbled in a low voice. Even if the two of us arrived, would we have been able to stop those two old fellows from the Linghu family? Elder Cloud shook his head. But, why would those two old fellows from the Linghu family suddenly come to our hidden fog sect and even take away Duan Lingtian? On the way here, he had learned the ins and outs of this matter from the hidden fog sect's sect master Qianyin. That Duan Lingtian, is he really someone from the Linghu family? Elder Cloud was a bit puzzled. He had long heard of Duan Lingtian. After Duan Lingtian became a core disciple, he had even thought of accepting him as a disciple. But because Elder Thunder had been rejected, he didn't ask for a rebuff. Today, when he heard that Duan Lingtian had used his own strength to kill Shengguan Xiongfeng in Longshao, he was shocked. He never imagined that Duan Lingtian would possess such strength right after breaking through to the lower God King realm. Even Shui Haichuan from 10,000 years ago couldn't accomplish this when he had just broken through to the lower God King realm. Now he couldn't figure it out. If such a character was someone from the Linghu family, why would they come to their hidden fog sect? A spy? Was the Linghu family so bold as to send such a genius to be a spy? Moreover, Duan Lingtian didn't seem like a spy at all. If he was a spy, he could have pretended to be Elder Thunder's disciple. That would have made it easier for him to be a spy for the Linghu family. I don't think so. Elder Cloud shook his head. According to Sect Master, that Duan Lingtian once had a close relationship with a young girl, and according to Murong Sui Feng, that young girl's God Emperor powerhouse shouldn't be any weaker than the four of us. In the Linghu family, apart from that mysterious second miss, there isn't a second female powerhouse whose strength can compare to ours. Moreover, the Murong family doesn't have a young girl of that age with such a noble status. Elder Cloud nodded his head at Elder Cloud's analysis. That young girl can't be someone from the Linghu family. As for Duan Lingtian, we can't be sure if he has a great background. We only know that he and the young girl are very close, as if they are siblings. The hidden fog sect master Qianyin said in a deep voice, I will find Murong Sui Feng to continue following up on this matter, but now that Duan Lingtian has gone to the Linghu family, it will be extremely difficult to dig out his background. He killed my disciple. Unless he has a background that can make me retreat, even the Linghu family won't be able to protect him. Elder Thunder's eyes flashed coldly as he said in a deep voice. At this moment, Elder Feng's eyes gleamed coldly as well. We still have to find an opportunity to capture Duan Lingtian and imprison him. He'll tell us himself if he has any background or not. If he doesn't have a background, then we'll just kill him to comfort Xiongfeng's soul in heaven. Whether it was Elder Feng or Elder Lei, they couldn't be as calm and collected as Elder Cloud, Elder Wu, or Qianyin. After all, the one who died this time was their disciple. Old Lei. Elder Feng looked at Elder Lei and said indifferently, if you want to avenge your disciple Long Shao, how about the two of us take turns going to Linghu City every once in a while? Elder Lei's eyes lit up. You mean, we will go to Linghu City and find an opportunity to capture that Duan Lingtian? That's right. Elder Feng nodded, a cold light flashing in his eyes. I don't believe he can hide in the Linghu family's mansion forever. I also don't believe that the Linghu family's divine emperor can stay by his side and protect him forever. Lingtian, War Sovereign. Chapter 3744. Is there any meaning in doing this? Elder Yun shook his head when he heard Elder Feng's words. You've captured Duan Ling Tian because you can't stop him from sending messages. Once he sends a message to the Linghu clan, won't they know it's you who captured him? At that time, the Linghu family will definitely come knocking on our door. Elder Yun said. If they come looking for him, do we have to return him to them? Elder Win didn't comment. We just need to ignore them. Duan Ling Tian can't see them and they can't save him. Do you think they can use our hidden fog sect disciples to threaten us? If they really dare to touch our hidden fog sect disciples, I don't mind paying a visit to the Linghu family. Elder Wind coldly sneered. That's right. Elder Thunder nodded. Moreover, we can renege on our debt and say we never saw Duan Ling Tian. As for why Duan Ling Tian said we captured him, perhaps he was threatened by someone? Perhaps he wants to slander us and incite conflict between our hidden fog sect and the Linghu family? Hearing Elder Zephyr's words, whether it was Elder Yun, Elder Wu, or the hidden fog sect Master Qianyin, they all felt their obsession. It was clear they couldn't stop them. At this moment, Elder Wu, who had been silent all this while, finally spoke. He looked at Elder Feng and Elder Lei and said, I have to remind both of you, if you don't have absolute confidence, don't think about killing Duan Ling Tian. It's fine if this news doesn't spread out, but once it does, if there really is a colossus behind Duan Ling Tian, it won't just be you who will suffer a loss, but the entire hidden fog sect. Moreover, even if you have the confidence to kill him without exposing yourselves, you can't act rashly, otherwise, as long as you aren't an idiot, anyone will suspect you. As Elder Wu spoke to hear, his tone became heavier. If you want to act soon, find a chance to capture Duan Ling Tian. But you absolutely cannot kill him. Old Wu, you aren't the only one who is worried about the hidden fog sect. Old Feng and I are too. Elder Lei glanced at Elder Wu and said, otherwise, do you think we wouldn't have attacked him today? The one who was killed by him was the disciple we doted on the most. Furthermore, didn't you hear me say that I would capture Duan Ling Tian and not kill him? If I were to make a move, as long as that Duan Ling Tian leaves the Linghu family mansion and doesn't have a God King by his side, I'm confident that I can kill him without anyone discovering that I'm the one who killed him. As he spoke, Elder Lei's tone was filled with pride and confidence. It's decided then. Seeing the elders arguing, Qianyin, the sect master of the hidden fog sect, quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. We'll do as Elder Lei says and capture Duan Ling Tian, not kill him. If we can confirm that Duan Ling Tian has no other background besides the Linghu family, we'll kill him to comfort the souls of Elder Feng and Elder Lei's 2 disciples in heaven. Granduncle, where's Duan Ling Tian? Tang Huiyin was waiting outside the core disciples' cultivation area with the other inner sect disciples. When he saw the group of inner sect elders come out, he immediately looked for his granduncle, Tang Chun. Tang Chun looked at the worried Tang Huiyin and said, Don't worry, Duan Ling Tian is fine. Then where is he? Tang Huiyin asked. It was taken away by the Linghu family. Tang Chun said. The Linghu family? Tang Huiyin was stunned. How did he get involved with the Linghu family again? Could it be that the sect master and the others asked the Linghu family to kill Duan Ling Tian? Tang Huiyin's expression changed again as she guessed. Tang Chun was speechless. Girl, didn't I tell you that Duan Ling Tian is fine? What are you thinking? The Linghu family took Duan Ling Tian away to save Duan Ling Tian. Otherwise, even if Duan Ling Tian didn't die now, he would definitely be imprisoned until his elders came to save him. Now that the Linghu family took him away, there's no need to trouble his elders. Tang Chun was almost certain that Duan Ling Tian had an extraordinary background. It wasn't just because of the young girl who appeared at the Zhou family's auction in Wind City, but also because of the talent and comprehension that Duan Ling Tian had displayed. In his opinion, it was very normal for a monstrous genius like Duan Ling Tian to have an extraordinary background. Why would the Linghu family suddenly appear there? Tang Huiyin had too many questions in her mind. After Tang Chun told her the ins and outs of the matter, she finally understood. It was the Linghu family's elders Hung and Huan who took him away. But why would they say that Duan Ling Tian is a member of the Linghu family? When did Duan Ling Tian join the Linghu family? Tang Huiyin frowned. Tang Chun didn't say anything when he heard Tang Huiyin's words. He only had one guess in his mind, and it was inconvenient to tell Tang Huiyin about it. Could it be Linghu Chuyin? However, when Tang Huiyin spoke again, he was taken aback because Tang Huiyin had the same idea as him. After the Hang and Huan elders took Duan Ling Tian away, he had been racking his brains to think of the connection between Duan Ling Tian and the Linghu family. First of all, since Duan Ling Tian came to the Hidden Fog sect through Wind City's Hidden Fog Academy, it meant that he didn't have any connection with the Linghu family. Otherwise he could have just gone directly to the Linghu family. With his talent and comprehension, the Linghu family couldn't give him less than what the Hidden Fog sect could give him. Then, if he really wanted to talk about the connection between Duan Ling Tian and the Linghu family, it seemed that the only thing that happened in Junlin City was the incident that happened last time. Duan Ling Tian publicly courted the Linghu family's #1 beauty, Linghu Chuyin. This time he came back to kill Shangguan Xiongfeng in Longshao. I'm afraid he planned it all out long ago. As for his escape route, he has already calculated it all. And his confidence comes from the Linghu family's Hang and Huan elders. Him joining the Linghu family should be related to Linghu Chuyin. Of course, his willingness to join the Linghu family shouldn't be just because of Linghu Chuyin, but also because he wants to kill Shangguan Xiongfeng in Longshao. If he is still a disciple of the Hidden Fog sect, even if he doesn't die after killing Shangguan Xiongfeng in Longshao, he will be imprisoned and wait for the elders of the faction behind him to come and save him. These were all Tang Chun's thoughts. Girl, forget about him. He is not suitable for you. When Tang Chun came back to his senses and saw the desolate expression on Tang Huiyan's face, he sighed and advised, you and he are not people of the same world. When Duan Ling Tian left the Hidden Fog sect with the Linghu family's Hang and Huan elders, he was naturally in a carefree mood. Whether it was Shangguan Xiongfeng or Longshao, they were both like mountains that pressed down on his chest, often suffocating him. But now they were both killed by him, so his mood was naturally smoothed out. Little fellow, you are truly ruthless. Not only did you kill that old madman's disciple Shangguan Xiongfeng, but you also killed that Hidden Fog sect's elder Lei's disciple Longshao. Within the Divine Emperor level flying ship, Linghu Huan looked at Duan Ling Tian. He clicked his tongue and said, I'm afraid your name will be recorded in the annals of the Hidden Fog sect. You will be known as unprecedented, unsurpassed. Killing one is the same as killing two. Duan Ling Tian faintly smiled. Moreover, is there a difference between killing one and killing two? Duan Ling Tian's principle of conduct had always been that if others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. But if others offended him, he would return the favor 10-fold or 100-fold. In the past, Shangguan Xiongfeng had stolen 2 revival good fortune pills from him for no apparent reason, causing him to walk the path of becoming a divine king. But that was fine. But today Shangguan Xiongfeng had exposed his past actions. Shangguan Xiongfeng flew into a rage out of humiliation and wanted to kill him. The moment Shangguan Xiongfeng attacked, Duan Ling Tian had already sentenced him to death in his heart. As for Longshao, last time when Duan Ling Tian perfunctorily dealt with Longshao, he knew that he had offended him. And today as soon as he returned, Longshao came knocking on his door wanting to kill him. To him this sort of person was a great hidden danger. You want to kill me? I'm sorry, but in order to protect myself I can only make the first move. You are decisive. Little fellow, your future is limitless. As Linghu Huan heard Duan Ling Tian's words, he didn't know how to respond for a long time. Finally, he lifted his fat right hand and gave Duan Ling Tian a thumbs up. They don't dare to kill you. Suddenly, Linghu Hang, who had been silent all this while, looked at Duan Ling Tian and spoke. That's right. At this time, Linghu Huan also remembered something. He revealed a curious expression and asked, Duan Lingdan, according to my understanding of the Hidden Fog sect's elders Wind and Thunder, they aren't good people. If it were an ordinary Hidden Fog sect disciple, no matter how high their talent or perception was, they would have killed their sect's disciple to avenge their disciple. But they didn't kill you. Why? The curiosity in Linghu Huan's eyes became increasingly strong. Whether it was Linghu Huan or Linghu Hang, although they had been hiding in the dark since early on, they could only watch from afar. It was difficult for them to hear what was happening at the scene. Thus, they only saw that the Hidden Fog sect's elders Wind and Thunder didn't kill Duan Ling Tian. They didn't hear the whispers of the Hidden Fog sect's elders and disciples. They didn't know that elders Wind and Thunder feared Duan Ling Tian's background, and thus didn't dare to kill Duan Ling Tian. Even later, when the Hidden Fog sect's elder Wind attacked Duan Ling Tian, he did so in an extremely gentle manner. Let alone killing him, it was more like he didn't want to injure Duan Ling Tian. He only wanted to capture Duan Ling Tian. However, at that time, Linghu Huan couldn't help but appear. I'm afraid that my little sister will cause trouble for them after she dies. Duan Ling Tian said unhurriedly in the face of Elder Hang and Elder Huan's curiosity. At the same time, the young girl named Duan Xiaoyu he met in Skywind City appeared in his mind once more. Who exactly was she? Not only did she have an older brother who looked like him, but she was also very friendly, as if she really treated him as her older brother. Chapter 3745. Duan Lingtian thought of Duan Xiaoyu and wondered about her background. Whether it was Linghu Heng or Linghu Huan, they were both stunned by Duan Lingtian's response. I'm afraid that my little sister will cause trouble for them after they kill me. They understood what Duan Lingtian meant. Duan Lingtian's meaning was that the hidden fog sect's elders Feng and Lei didn't dare to kill him because they were afraid that his little sister would take revenge for him. From this they understood the main point. The little sister, Duan Lingtian spoke of, wasn't an ordinary person. What a joke. How could someone who could make the hidden fog sect's elders Feng and Lei feel fear and not even dare to take revenge on the people who killed their disciple right under their noses be an ordinary person? Duan Lingtian, who is your little sister? When Linghu Huan looked at Duan Lingtian again, his fat face was solemn and serious. To be able to make the hidden fog sect's elders Feng and Lei feel fear and forcefully suppress the hatred of their disciple, if it were him he would also feel fear. Faced with Linghu Huan's question, Duan Lingtian only smiled. Elder Huan, you will know in the future. It wasn't hard for Linghu Huan to understand that Duan Lingtian was evading the question. But he didn't point it out and didn't ask again. He could see that Duan Lingtian didn't plan on speaking. If he continued to ask he would just be asking for a snub. However, whether it was Linghu Huan or Linghu Heng, when they looked at Duan Lingtian again, their gazes were very different from before. In the past, in their eyes, Duan Lingtian was a junior with astonishing talent and perception. But now they realized that Duan Lingtian had a background that they didn't know about. Moreover, that background was something that even the hidden fog sect's elders Feng and Lei feared. Junior apprentice brother Duan. When Duan Lingtian and Linghu Huan stopped talking and sat cross-legged on the side of the ship with their eyes closed to rest, a transmission entered his ears. The person who sent the message was none other than Wu Feng, who had entered the divine palace and divine treasury left behind by divine Emperor Qin Wu. After returning to the hidden fog sect, he had already met with Wu Feng. However, as he questioned the hidden fog sect's sect master Qian Yin in front of the hidden fog sect disciples, Qian Yin didn't seem to want too many people to join in on the fun. He bluntly ordered the group of inner sect disciples to leave. At that time Wu Feng stepped down. Therefore Wu Feng wasn't too clear about what happened next. Only when Wu Feng knew that everyone had left did he send a message to Duan Lingtian. Are you okay? I'm fine. Duan Lingtian replied, Thank you for your concern, senior brother Wu Feng. Are you okay? Wu Feng, on the other hand, was a little dumbfounded. Junior brother Duan, Elder Feng and Elder Lei let you go just like that? In Wu Feng's opinion, Duan Lingtian was almost certain to die this time. After killing a disciple of Elder Feng and Elder Lei, and one that they doted on the most, it would be a miracle if Duan Lingtian was still alive. Do you think that's possible? Hearing Wu Feng's message, Duan Lingtian smiled and asked in reply. Then, where are you now? Wu Feng asked, Did they imprison you and then set a time to execute you? Junior brother Duan, how about I talk to Elder Tang Chun, and see if he can contact Elder Shui Haichuan. If Elder Shui Haichuan is willing to accept you as a disciple, he can definitely protect you. Wu Feng said. No need. Feeling Wu Feng's concern, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel a burst of warmth in his heart. Senior brother Wu Feng, after seeing you this time, your condition seems much better. It seems that divine Emperor Qin Wu's remnant soul didn't affect you too much. My cultivation has recently made some progress. I'm only a step away from the Middle God King realm. Wu Feng said, Junior brother Duan, let's talk about you. Where are you now? Is it convenient for me to find you? I left the hidden fog sect. Duan Lingtian said. You left the hidden fog sect? Where are you going? Are Elder Feng and Elder Lei willing to let you go? They want to make things difficult for me, but when I return this time I won't be going alone. There are 2 other people coming with me. With them here, Elder Feng and Elder Lei can only watch as they take me away. Who are they that even Elder Feng and Elder Lei fear? The Linghu family's Elder Heng and Elder Huan. That's right, senior apprentice brother Wu Feng, I have already declared in front of everyone today that I will leave the hidden fog sect. After leaving the hidden fog sect, I will join the Linghu family. Then, through the Linghu family I will enter the Tianlong clan. The Linghu family? Wu Feng was silent for a moment. Then he asked again, Junior brother Duan, have you confirmed that Linghu Chuyin is your wife? In his opinion, this could only be the reason why Duan Ling Tian suddenly joined the Linghu family. I haven't seen her yet, so I can't confirm it. Duan Ling Tian transmitted, I joined the Linghu family because I wanted to confirm this matter, but it was also because the Hidden Fog sect can't tolerate me. When you rejected Elder Lei, you shouldn't have done it in public. You should have done it in private, that way Long Xiao might not hate you. Wu Feng sighed. He naturally knew that when Duan Ling Tian said the Hidden Fog sect couldn't tolerate him, it was because Long Xiao was against Duan Ling Tian. Even Shengguan Xiongfeng was against Duan Ling Tian because of Long Xiao. If he didn't have a conflict with Long Xiao, Duan Ling Tian's life in the Hidden Fog sect would have been smooth sailing. Then, through the Hidden Fog sect, he could have entered the Tianlong clan. The Hidden Fog sect will regret it one day. Wu Feng thought about how Duan Ling Tian would enter the Tianlong clan through the Linghu family in the future. He would become a member of the Linghu family within the Tianjin clan and compete with the Hidden Fog sect. It's all in the past. Duan Ling Tian smiled and said, Senior apprentice brother Wu Feng, we'll meet in the Tianlong clan in the future. But you have to hurry. Otherwise, by the time you reach the Tianlong clan, I might have already left the Tianlong clan. As Duan Ling Tian spoke with Wu Feng, he thought of the two friends he made at Wind City's Hidden Fog Academy, Ding Yan and Ho Qingning. However, Ho Qingning had contacted him last time and said that Ding Yan had left without saying goodbye. Now, in Wind City's Hidden Fog Academy, the only person who could be considered his friend was Ho Qingning. With the speed of the Divine Emperor-level flying ship, they soon returned to Linghu City. The Linghu family. After Linghu Huan bade farewell to Duan Ling Tian, he left with his twin brother Linghu Heng. After all, their mission could be considered complete. As soon as the two left, Duan Ling Tian saw the Linghu family's patriarch Linghu Renjie. Seeing Duan Ling Tian again, Linghu Renjie's gaze was clearly a bit complicated. Before Duan Ling Tian returned, he had already received a message from Duan Ling Tian. He learned of all the things that happened when Duan Ling Tian went to the Hidden Fog sect. Among them, the most important was Duan Ling Tian's mysterious background. Or, it could be said that she was the mysterious little sister that Duan Ling Tian spoke of. Duan Ling Tian, welcome to the Linghu family. Although his mood was complicated, in front of Duan Ling Tian, Linghu Renjie acted as if nothing had happened. He was quite enthusiastic and didn't treat Duan Ling Tian as a junior at all. The reason I was able to safely escape from the Hidden Fog sect is all thanks to the patriarch. Duan Ling Tian repeatedly thanked Linghu Renjie. If it weren't for the Linghu family's Heng and Huan elders following him to the Hidden Fog sect, even if he hadn't died, he would have been imprisoned. And once he was imprisoned, he could only wait for death. In truth, he didn't have any background. Even when he met Duan Xiaoyu in the past, they had only met by chance. They hadn't even exchanged soul beads, so he couldn't contact Duan Xiaoyu for help. Once the Hidden Fog sect waited for a long time and no one came to save him, they would conclude that he had no background and then kill him. This can be considered the first thing the family will do for you. In the future, there will be many things the family will need to rely on you for. Linghu Renjie smiled. As long as it's within my ability, I won't refuse. Duan Ling Tian responded with a serious expression. I believe you. Linghu Renjie smiled and nodded. Then he called out to Duan Ling Tian and personally led Duan Ling Tian to the residence arranged for him. It was an independent mansion within the Linghu family mansion. The mansion was spacious and there were many maids and servants arranged inside. There was even a butler. Could be said that everything was taken care of. For the next period of time, you can peacefully cultivate in the family. If there is anything you need, you can look for the butler. If the butler can't solve it, you can look for me and I will arrange it for you. Linghu Renjie said to Duan Ling Tian, as for entering the Tianlong clan, with your talent and perception, our Linghu family can recommend you to enter right now. But I don't approve of this. While Duan Ling Tian was still feeling puzzled, Linghu Renjie said with a burning gaze, 26 years later, the Heavenly Dragon sect will be recruiting disciples from the outside world once every 100 years. At that time, those who are under the age of 10,000 will be able to participate in the Heavenly Dragon sect's entrance examination. As long as you can smoothly pass the entrance examination, you will have the qualifications to participate in the Hidden Dragon Grand Competition. At that time, the top 100 people will be able to obtain rewards from the Tianlong clan. Those in the top 10 will have even more generous rewards. Only the top 3 and the first place will have even more generous rewards. The Hidden Dragon Grand Competition is only open to new disciples of the Tianlong clan who pass the entrance examination once every 100 years. Only the Tianlong clan's new disciples can participate. If you join now, 26 years from now, at the Hidden Dragon Grand Competition, you can only be a spectator. When he spoke up to hear, Linghu Renjie paused for a moment before continuing. During the last Hidden Dragon Competition, every single person that was ranked in the top 10 obtained an Emperor Ascension Divine Pill. And I've received news that, in this time's Hidden Dragon Grand Competition, every one of the top 10 people will also receive an Emperor Ascension Elixir. This is only one of the rewards for the top 10 people. There are other rewards, and the higher the ranking, the more generous they are. Emperor Ascension Elixir. As soon as he heard Linghu Renjie mention the Emperor Ascension Elixir, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up, and even his breathing subconsciously became sluggish. It's precisely because of this that I think you can consider waiting until then to enter the Tianlong clan. Linghu Renjie said, "Of course, if you still want to enter now, I'll respect your decision." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.